Rejoice, your lass is live. I'll just move you over here. Put volume down. Oh, the volume is down. Right. Right. Yeah, don't know who you are. Oh, you put it in the constellation. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, that one's not. Oh, kitty. UK isn't better. Trust us all. It is shit. That's it. Nice one, Chester. Cool. Where's that? That's in the convulsion. Interesting things. Oh my god. Ah! Rejoice, comrades. Supermod is lurking in the void. Watch out for the tardigrades, my dear. Hang on. Please tell me it's working. Yes, my mic is working, thank God. Thank you, Shanna, my dear. I'm just clearing a fuck ton of notifications. I just kind of let them build up because I can't be arsed. Bloody hell, Kieran. If you're throwing up like that, that's no good. Good point. Yeah. Oh, he's put it in the multiverse. I like these built up for over a day. Fucking hell. I really need to keep on top of that. Yeah, I know. That's what I know. Oh, John messaged me. Thanks, John. Cool. Thank you, John. Oh, what's that? Ah, Kev. Notification for Kev. Notification, fucking hell. Yeah. Only mildly exploitative. Did it? Fucking hell. God, I keep putting me in here. Oh, sorry, Milo. Did it? Oh, fucking hell. Oh, that's why he's upset. Brummy comrade upset because Birmingham City lost. Poor Kev. Clam. Go. Give me loads. Yeah, I'll take 17 points. Yeah. Yeah, I'll keep it. There we go. That's better. Right, Jerry? Hello, Big Jerry. Rejoice, Big Jerry in chat. Hello, I am Madcat79 Scotty Eye on Twitch, or Katie Marshall 4340 on YouTube. I'm a Scottish disabled Marxist streamer. I talk about health, disability and politics, and currently Holyrood elections happening up here. So we're going through the constituency profiles from the National, the paper that supports Scottish independence. I'm a member of this paper now. Well, not a member, I pay for it, which is quite good. It's a fairly decent paper. Where politics is concerned, it really is good for Scottish coverage and other sort of coverage. Welcome in. Thank you. I'll need to bring everything up. Give me a moment. So, yep, I want my Twitch one. Yes, I know I'm live. Oh! Rejoice, comrades. Davinia Robbins in the chat. Hello, my dear. There we go. I have my Twitch dashboard up. Let's go to my YouTube, shall we? So I can go and see who's over there. I think Big Jerry is over there. Go. My channel. Thank you. There we go. Dashboard up. Mute. Muted. Ta-da! Oh. Bring up my one on my phone so I can do modding better. Oh, you're reacting to a Toonshays one. Kev just like that one, actually. There we go. Got it up. Hello, everyone. We'll give people a few minutes to come in. There we go. There'll be the Twitch chat right there. Okay, shall we? Izzy! Thank you, Lefty. God damn it, bloody dry skin around my eyes is annoying the fuck out of me. We will give Lefty some time to come in then. So I have people. Comments are good. My God, how would my left eye react to that one from the Spartacus UK? No, I've got dry skin under my eyes and just above my eyebrows, and it is annoying as fuck. There's a face cream that I use to try and deal with it, but it's really quite bad at the minute. I don't know what's causing it. It's just annoying. Yeah. There's a cream in the drawer to my right over there that I use in the morning to deal with it. I might need to start using it twice a day, so morning and night. Which means I'll need to send out Super Hubby to buy me another tub of it. That's one of those wee pot ones. It's fucking £8. Oh, this is emollient. This was prescribed to him because he's got dry as fuck, and I mean severely fucking dry. He's had horrible dry skin before and got infections from them. I tried to educate him. Use the fucking emollient. I'm not taking you to fucking hospital again for a skin infection, you numpty. Like it's on his thighs and his knees and on his back and stuff. The ones on the soles of his feet are, as far as I'm concerned, his feet are fucked. The skin on the soles of his feet, don't care. Fucking, they're gone. It will take decades to get that fucking shit fixed. I'm mostly lucky. Most of my skin is relatively clear of nonsense. It's just under my eyes. I've been trying to figure out what's causing it, and I can't seem to figure it out. No. If I figure it out, or if my GP figures it out, I will let everyone know, and I will rejoice that yes, finally I get a treatment for it, if they can figure out what's actually causing it. But the moisturiser I use is quite good. Usually lasts most of the day, so it's now starting to wear off. It's the one above my eyebrows that I try not to touch. The one under my eye isn't too bad, so it's right in the corner and on the side of my nose. And just under my lash line here. Infinity, Katie. Love it. I'll just go back to this. I will see the raid come in. Excuse me. I did same with him. I don't mind it. I've got a really good skin regimen that I use. I was doing it before I started my stream when I was over in Kev's. It's called Naturally Radiant and it's Superdrug's own range, and it is really quite good. If you look in the Discord, you'll find the Easter eggs that we have got. My mum put a tenner in my bank account. Says go and buy yourself either Easter eggs or a bottle of wine for your chicken. So what he's going to do, he needs to go and collect a prescription tomorrow for himself. And he's just going to pick up another bottle of wine that we can have with chicken. I might make a gravy, a white wine sauce for the chicken. Yeah, that one is fucking big, isn't it? In the shops, that is £22. I got it on Amazon for £7. Prime, by the way. I'm a Prime user, Prime customer. That thing only cost me £7. Plus I got a couple of other ones as well for him and myself. You know, like the Maltesers and the Smarties one. Yeah, it's in date. So's my Maltesers one and so's my Kit Kat one. His Smarties and Terry's chocolate orange with popping candy in it. They're all in date. So I was thinking there's something not right with this one, and I checked it when it arrived to see if it was in date or not at that price, and it was. So, bargain. He can have the actual Lindor ones, the little chocolates, and I'll have the actual egg. Yeah. I know what to look out for, don't worry. Because they usually subtly change the packaging. Yeah, they usually slightly change the packaging each year, the actual manufacturers of the thing. So you can tell when it was made, when it was the packaging that's in as well. So it's the same packaging you're getting in supermarkets or any other shop that's selling Easter eggs. It doesn't necessarily need to be a supermarket. Ooh, people. Here we go. Hello, Jacqueline. Rejoice, comrades. Jacqueline in the chat. Hello, my dear. More constituency profiles because I want everyone to know about Scotland and what might be happening up here for the election. Good, good. Yeah, I was. That's what I say to people. Oh, you're on both. Thank you, Jacqueline. I need the views. Hello, everyone. Right. Shall we? Independent support can push SNP over the line in Airdrie. Would you look at the gradient of that fucking hill? View of Glen Mavis, North Lanarkshire. So that is north of here, or Glenouth. Your 5-day streak has been saved. Fantastic. Good for you, Jacqueline. The old Airdrie and Shotts constituency is being renamed as simply Airdrie for May's Holyrood election, although, confusingly, that is not an indication that Shotts has been removed from the seat. Well, Shotts is part of Airdrie. For all intents and purposes, anyway. Indeed, the boundaries remain completely unaltered, meaning that the town of Airdrie itself continues to be tucked away at the westernmost edge of the constituency's fairly broad geographical spread, which takes in a number of other settlements of significant size, including not only Shotts, but Caldercrew, Plains and Allington. Even the more rural parts of the seat, though, there are no pockets of affluence that offset Airdrie's own status as a lower-income post-industrial town, working class, with lower than average house prices and relatively poor levels of educational attainment. Throughout the constituency as a whole, 23% of the working age population have no qualifications at all. Oh, ouch. Which is one of the highest proportions to be found anywhere in Scotland. Only 21% have a degree level qualification, which is correspondingly much lower than most constituencies. Seat therefore functions as a relatively pure test of how the SNP are faring at any given moment in time among what would have been deemed until recently a highly traditional Labour electorate, basically working class. I repeat myself. You got a 10-day streak in the past. Nice one, Davinia. And in spite of the caricature that the Monklands area of North Lanarkshire is divided into Protestant and Protestant Airdrie and Catholic Coatbridge, that's not necessarily true. There is, in fact, a comparatively large number of Catholic voters in Airdrie itself. Well, it's the West. For all intents and purposes, most of the west coast of Scotland were Catholic. Most of the east coast, don't get me wrong, there's Catholic, there's towns with bigger Catholic population, but so Catholic on the west coast, Protestant on the east, and the Northern Isles are some breed of either Methodist or Calvinist, mostly. Or Church of Scotland as well. That's significant because the ties between the Labour Party and working class Catholic vote have proved particularly hard to permanently break. Although Catholic-rich parts of the Central Belt have been as favourable as anywhere else with SNP in good years, They've also swung back heavily to Labour in years when the SNP have stumbled a little. Well, that's the case in lots of different constituencies. Oh, Neil Gray, hello. Labour came within just 0.5% of regaining the equivalent Westminster seat of Airdrie Shotts in the Corbyn surge year of 2017. Okay, and when they did eventually retake that seat in 2024, it was by a mammoth margin of fucking hell, 21 points. That's pretty sizable. None of that will be overly worrying to the Scottish Government's Health Secretary, Neil Gray. Pictured here. Who once again is defending the Holyrood seat for the SNP. Although his own vote share will probably be significantly down on 2021, he starts with an enviable cushion over Labour of 17 points. That's also a fair size. Which should be almost impossible to overturn given Labour's current collapse in the national polls. They've cratered. Massive nosedive off a cliff. Best way of describing it, at least in my opinion. But the more troubling and difficult to answer questions are how the former Labour traditional vote will respond to what Nigel Farage is offering at this election. Please, Airdrie Shotts, do not do this to me. Not this fucking close. And whether there will be enough of a swing to reform for Gray's position to be threatened from a new direction. I fucking hope not. Seriously, I fucking hope not. In socio-economic terms, Airdrie is not exactly a million miles away from the Whitburn and Blackburn ward of West Lothian. So, over to the east. Where Reform enjoyed their first Scottish electoral breakthrough last year. Hang on, refreshment. In Gray's favour, however, is the strong independent support in the area. Sweet. With around 50% of voters believed to have backed Jess in the 2014 referendum. A massive 75% of local residents self-report having an exclusively Scottish national identity. Scottish. Very Scottish. And perhaps most significantly, the Leave vote in 2016 EU referendum is thought to have been only a little higher than the 38% recorded across Scotland. Those should all prove to be significant obstacles for reform with the SNP having taken more than 50% of the vote in the constituency 5 years ago. It is hard to imagine that support dipping to the sort of level at which reform might be left with a plausible path to outright victory. Heliop. Greetings, off-grid Yukon. Nice. Hello, lovely Canadian. They don't... I seriously hope they don't have a plausible path to actually gaining your dream shots. What the fuck? Reform can go away. I'll be polite. Manfrog can just go away. Don't come to Scotland. Fuck off. Airdrie is certainly the sort of constituency where Reform will hope to lay down a marker for the future by finishing a strong second. Rejoice, the supermod is here. Hello, Shanna. Airdrie is certainly the sort of constituency where Reform will hope to lay down a marker for the future by finishing a strong second. But for now, at least, SNP can still be expected to come out on top. Yeah. Okay, what one's next? So, we have done the Aberdeenshire ones. We have done air drain shots now. Amman Valley. Let's go. Oh, I like that headline. Yeah. Oh, it's Angela Constance. Okay. Justice Secretary Angela Constance, West Lothian constituency of Amman Valley, emerged from the boundary review more or less intact, only suffering a minor loss of territory around the village of Seafield to the new seat of Bathgate. So, if only from a symbolic point of view, Constance may not be overly sad to see Seafield go because it's the sole bit of the constituency which forms part of the Whitburn and Blackburn local government ward, that council. In December, that ward was the scene of Reform UK's first electoral triumph on Scottish soil. Oh, hydrate. Sorry, I didn't see that, darling. Boo. Excuse me. Much better. There's still enough about the revised version of the seat to keep Nigel Farage's troops interested. Bollocks. In common with almost everywhere in Scotland, it was the Remain voting area in the 2016 referendum. But it's known that the Westminster constituency of Livingston, which is slightly more closer, it's more to the west of Edinburgh, so it's closer to Glasgow. It's on the way to Glasgow, essentially, so you leave Edinburgh and you pass by either south or slightly north of Livingston and come back over to Glasgow on bus. Which is a slightly larger than Amman Valley, but basically covers the same ground. Had a leave vote of around 43%. I don't know. Which is 5 points higher than the Scotland-wide, yeah, it was 38% here. Scotland-wide percentage, and is one of the highest numbers recorded anywhere in the Central Belt. Damn. And although the constituency has had a mix of mixed socio-economic character, it has at least some pockets of poverty and left-behind communities. Well, it's the Central Belt. We've been neglected for fucking decades. That's not only the case in sections of the main population centre of Livingston Newtown, but also in the former mining town of Falthouse at the westernmost edge of the seat. So the Central Belt, there was lots of mining. That's one of the main reasons a lot of houses are subsiding, because there's literal coal mines underneath it. And these things have to be propped up and kept so the houses don't subside. They go at weird tilts and angles and they kind of dip down. That's why you have to get a survey done of your property to find out if your house is at risk of subsiding because of these shafts underneath the housing. And your insurance for that is usually quite high. The insurance for the building insurance across the Central Belt, especially in certain areas, especially over in the east, your building insurance, which you legally have to have if you've got a mortgage, is kind of high. Not very high, but kind of high. At least in theory, it's voters in areas like that which past experience suggests might be at least somewhat receptive to Reform's message blaming the ills of the modern world on immigrants. Most Scots don't think like that, thank fuck. However, higher income commuter villages like Kirknewton and Mid Calder, along with the better off parts of Livingston, make up a substantial minority of the constituency's population, and it is therefore very doubtful whether the likely ceiling on Reform's potential support is high enough to permit the party to be competitive against the SNP. If anything, the local SNP are likely to be feeling extremely bullish about their prospects at the moment. It's less than 2 years since they were reeling from their Westminster MP Hannah Bardell's defeats at the hands of Labour on a huge 17-point swing. I miss Hannah. And they must have been bracing themselves for the high risk of a repeat performance in the Holyrood election. But all trace of Labour threat has melted away. Hi Hannah. Hello John. His head looks particularly shiny in that photo. I don't know. Constance starts with enormous winning margin from 2021. 29 points. Not bad. Meaning Labour would require a net swing of just over 14.5 points to capture the seat for the first time since Bristol Muldoon's 23 years ago. Fuck. The most recent Scottish poll suggests there is indeed a net swing from the SNP to Labour, but of only 1%. A 1% swing isn't enough. Just isn't. The Tories and Lib Dems are perpetual also rands in the area, so it is very difficult to see where any credible challenge to Constance can materialise from, unless there's a dramatic change in national trends between now and polling day. Seriously, it's a month. There should be a solid SNP hold in May. Angus North and Mearns. That's it's a very accurate headline, that. Momentito, more refreshment is needed. Bloody hell, missed the cub. Yeah. If there was ever an SNP heartland, Angus was the jewel of it. I would say yes. Oh, look at lovely little Stonehaven. I have been here. There's a damn good chippy in it, actually. You'd have thunk it being on the coast. To the extent there was any such thing as an SNP heartland prior to the start of devolution, Angus was the jewel of it. Yes. For many years in the 80s and 90s, the old Angus District Council was the only local authority controlled by the SNP anywhere in Scotland. Well, from 1987 onwards, the late Andrew Wells continuously held the Westminster constituency of East Angus, my God, those were the days, as one of a tiny handful of SNP seats in the House of Commons. Now that defunct constituency overlapped with much of the present-day Holyrood seat of Angus North and Mearns, including a significant population centres like Brecon and Montrose. I've been in both of these places. They're just up the road from Perth. The last time I was in Montrose, it needed upgrading, just like a lot of places in Scotland before we got devolution a while ago. However, a substantial minority of the Holyrood constituency lies within southern Aberdeenshire rather than Angus, and was therefore clearly outside the old Heartland zone. To this day, this distinction leaves a footprint of the internal politics of the seat. At the most recent set of local elections 4 years ago, the SNP topped the popular vote in all 3 of Angus wards within the constituency, and by substantial margins in 2 cases. Nice one. But in the Mearns ward, which is within Aberdeenshire, the Tories were the most popular party in both 2022 and 2017. And surged to a fucking 15-point victory over the SNP in a 2024 by-election. Bollocks. The divide between the 2 parts of the constituency is driven not only by long-standing electoral tradition but also by ongoing economic factors. Deprivation, basically. The 2 main coastal towns within the Aberdeenshire section, Stonehaven and Inverbervie, have working-age populations that are more than 30% comprised of those holding professional or managerial occupations, with the equivalent figures for the towns within Angus slotting in closer to 20%. The Angus section of the sea also has a correspondingly much larger number of semi-skilled and unskilled workers. It would be a mistake to assume that Angus became an SNP stronghold in the late 20th century due mainly to support from lower income voters though. The pre-devolution local coalition of support for the SNP contained considerable numbers of people who would have otherwise voted Tory or who were opposed to independence. Yeah, in certain areas they didn't vote for independence, not because of the campaigning from Better Together or anything, they just unionists essentially. For that reason, the shock of losing Angus and 2 other traditional Heartland seats at Westminster level in 2017 for the first time in 3 decades led to an emotional response from some in the SNP who blamed Nicola for scaring the horses by pushing too hard for a second referendum. Oh, fuck off. In retrospect, that criticism looks misguided. Not least because we now know that the first independence referendum had already pushed the SNP past the point of no return and ensured that their level of support in any given area was bound to be closely correlated with local support for independence. That was actually a very good thing on the whole, because the retention of dozens of SNP seats in former Labour areas in 2017 easily outweighed the loss of a handful of seats similar to Angus. Have to take the good with the bad. Yeah. Kinda a little bit upsetting, but I get it. But the criticism was also misplaced because it severely underestimated the prospects of a quick resurgence for the SNP in Angus, even without rebuilding the former coalition of support. Because the main unionist parties kept on fucking up or doing dogshit fucking policies on us all. We did get kind of pissed off. I will say again, don't give Scots a reason to fucking hate you. We will hold that for ages, or forever. It's not like we're stubborn or anything. The defeat in the Westminster constituency was not replicated at Holyrood election in 2021, and the SNP held the 2 Angus seats in the Scottish Parliament with some ease. Some leeway? Good. Mary Gougeon's margin of victory over the Tories in Angus North and Mearns was just a smidgen short of 10%. And the Tories probably had the Aberdeenshire part of the seat to thank for it even being as competitive as that. Meanwhile, at Westminster level, Dave Duggan had already recaptured Angus for the SNP. Hi, Dave. As early as 2019, and went on to win the new seat of Angus in Perthshire Glens, so that is north of Perth, where I am from. In the much more challenging electoral climate of 2024. With the Scotland-wide Tory vote having collapsed, faceplant, blue, polling in 5th. With the Scotland-wide Tory vote having collapsed in recent times, good, they deserve it. The SNP's traditional opponent in Angus has now effectively been taken out of the game completely. Thank you, Angus, for giving me hope. Labour and Liberal Democrats were never in the game. Not there, they weren't. Fucking hell. So the only theoretical threat that the new SNP candidate, Don Black, will have to keep an eye out for in May is the unknown quantity of reform. Can reform take Angus? I do not believe so. I know people from Angus. I know people from like Stonehaven and the other people like Brecon and Montrose and stuff. They're of the same opinion as me. Manfrog can piss off. Yeah. I have faith in Angus. I hope it won't be betrayed. I have faith in them. Hopefully the SNP will keep it. With any luck. Okay, Labour and Liberal Democrats were never in the game, so the only theoretical threat that the new SNP candidate, Don Black, will have to keep an eye out for in May is the unknown quantity of reform, who may well feel they have something to work with given the pro-Brexit vote. Oh God. In 2016, it was in the mid-40s. Ugh. In both Aberdeenshire and Angus. Welcome back, my dear. Significantly above the Scotland-wide figure of 38%. I'm going to be saying that 38% for a while, I think. But in other ways, Angus North and Mearns does not have especially favourable demographics for reform. Good. And the overwhelming likelihood must be of an SNP hold. Based. Hello, Omaha. Welcome. Constituency profiles, if you please. Do. Angus South. Here we go. By one, what was the headline? Significant surprise if SNP do not secure Angus South win. Okay. By one definition, Angus South is partially a city constituency because Monteith forms part of the Dundee conurbation and was even controversially administered as part of the city for 2 decades before being returned to Angus in 96. Yeah. Right, Monteith is north of Dundee, by the way. It was rather odd that was part of Dundee. Paradoxically, though, it's only one of the constituency's 4 main towns that does not contain any pockets of poverty, and therefore is one of the key contributors to the wistful sense that local Tories have that this is territory that really ought to be theirs. Fuck off. Entitled bastard Tories. You're not you're not meant to have anything unless the people of said area fucking vote for you. What the? Give me a moment. Go to YouTube. Fucking hell, Kev's still alive. Right, yeah, go to... no justice. Visit channel. Videos. So what are we? We're on the 4th now. No, not an April Fool's. She explains in the video, don't worry. There's, God, I can't remember. We can bring it up after this constituency profile if you want. We can watch it. To allay your fears, Jacqueline, don't worry. The people of Monteith, however, have generally declined to be caricatures of their socio-economic profile. At the 2022 local elections, their ward chose the SNP over the Tories by a margin of, fucking hell, at the minimum 31%. Tories get wrecked, just fuck off at your Angus. That was broadly in line with the SNP's very healthy performance everywhere else in the constituency, including in Arbroath. Arbroath is lovely. Try a smoky if you're ever in Arbroath. If you like fish, of course. Which is not only the seat's biggest population centre, but also contains its most significant concentrations of lower income voters. Oh, darling. Chamomile tea might help. That's my suggestion. That's what my sister uses. Just chamomile tea. If you have any stomach issues or internal digestion things, peppermint tea is good. But chamomile's good for calming. Or get an oil burner and put chamomile oil, like aromatherapy oil, is kind of expensive, but it's worth it. So get an oil burner and put it somewhere central or in your bedroom, away from your bed. And chamomile helps calm you down. Green tea would work as well, actually, come to think of it, yeah. Is that across the board consistency that explains why Angus South is more secure of the two Angus seats for the SNP, with the outgoing MSP Graham Day having defeated the Tories by 16 points in 2021. His vote share was 51%. Oh, nice one. The lemon and honey. The honey's good for soothing the throat, and the lemon's good for sort of clearing things. That's why I drink diluting lemon. It clears the mouth. Plus, lemon's just awesome anyway. Green tea with mint and lemon. Nice one, Davinia. His vote share was 51%, 3 points higher than the SNP's nationwide. That is fairly high. The main antidote to any danger of complacency in SNP ranks is the painful recollection of Kirstine Hare's brief tenure as the Tory MP for the Westminster constituency of Angus between 2017 and 2019. Cool. However, the newly redrawn Westminster seat of Arbroath and Broughty Ferry, bloody hell, that's a fairly big geographic-wise. Interesting. Substantially overlaps with Angus South, with only Kirriemuir and the sparsely populated inland rural areas around it excluded. That'll be a weird-looking constituency. Not drinking a mix. Ah, one with mint and one with lemon. Oh, don't you worry, Jacqueline, honestly. Ooh, Stephen Gethens won that seat for the SNP at the 2024 UK general election with a narrow majority over Labour, and with the Tories a very distant third on just 15.5%. Haha. I will say again, Tories, get right. That result might be partly explained by a tactical switch from the Tories to Labour by unionist voters who wanted to stop the SNP in a new constituency that also incorporates significant parts of Dundee City Council. That's safe SNP, by the way, Dundee, oddly enough. But still offers very little grounds for Tory optimism. What's that? Tories are optimistic? They shouldn't be. According to the polls, SNP's national advantage over the Tories is actually a few points higher now than it was 2 years ago. Ha ha ha. Within the boundaries of the Holyrood seat, Labour cannot realistically be competitive even in one of their good years, which 2026 is decidedly not shaping up to be. Don't be shouting government. Simple. So in the absence of a credible Tory threat, what's that? There should be a comparatively free run in May for the SNP's new candidate of Lloyd Melville. Cool name. Who is currently one of the party's 2 councillors in the Monifieth and Sidlaw ward. Technically, Sidlaw's part of... But a degree of uncertainty still has to be factored in due to the potential of Reform UK to throw a spanner in the works. Really? In Angus? Me no think so. No. I hope I don't get proved to be complacent there. Talking of Tories, wonder how many of the cabinet members of the previous government now have defected, which tells you everything you need to know about them. Exactly, Jacqueline. Yeah. 2 points may work in Reform's favour. Angus South skews firmly towards an older demographic. Scotland's an older country, by the way. The demographics here are kinda bad. So there's more boomer, there's more like, I'll say his age. Super Hubby is 56, so most of the biggest cohort, of the big age demographic here in Scotland is 55 and above. Then I'm next, so 45 up to 55, which includes me. Then there's sort of younger, like millennials or younger Gen Xers and stuff. Nice one, Davinia. 2 points may work in Reform's favour. Angus South skews firmly towards an older demographic, with 30% of the voting age population fucking 65 or above, fucking hell, at the time of the census 4 years ago. And a pro-Brexit vote in Angus was higher than the Scottish average. Fucking hell, 45%. However, there was no sign in the 2024 general election of Reform polling unusually well in Angus. With an extraordinarily strong local tradition of the SNP winning parliamentary elections stretching all the way back to the mid-70s. It would be very surprising if Melville is not safely installed as the next MSP. People get out while they can. It's a good question. I will be back momentarily, sir. I will be back momentarily, comrades. Talk amongst yourselves for a few minutes. Down you go. Two minutes, please, comrades. I return. Hello, hello, hello. Oh! Yeah, that kind of stunned me. Plenty of time for him to go and get a degree if he wants one. Obviously. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. I return. Hello again. I am back. I washed my hair, so it's a little bit flyaway at the edges. Right. Oh, not actually go into the story. Much better. Like the last time I washed my hair was 6 days ago. I struggle because my fingers, my wrists and my elbows can't struggle. Comb. Ceramic brush so I can use it when I'm drying my hair. Dragon hairpin with a sword. Oh, darling. Don't make me come down and wash your hair for you. I find it easier washing other people's hair than I do my own, oddly enough. Okay, next one. Oh dear God. Just up the road from me. Stay hydrated, self-care is good care, take your meds, stay based, free Palestine, and laugh at Labour. Fuck it. Good night, Jacqueline. 10 PM tomorrow for me and Andy, by the way. That happens after about blah 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 age. It's healthy to lose like between 50 and 100 hairs a day. Half the time you don't notice them because it's ones at the back, or the nape of your neck and stuff. The main part up here and at the side, they usually survive. It's mostly the ones at the back that you can't. Obviously, people can see them if they're looking at the back of your head, but that's where you lose. That's where you're losing them from, essentially. Is it loads more than that? Oh dear. Oh, my darling. I'm quite lucky. Even though I am losing hairs and stuff like that, I'm mostly keeping it, oddly enough. It's just going grey. Yeah. That's why I keep on dyeing my hair different colours. To basically... No, I've not got grey hair. I've got purple, I've got green, I've got blue. No grey hair. If you try a wig, let me know. Go away pop-ups. Right, here we go. Geographic quirk means S&P may hold on to Argyll and Bute. Hello, Jenny Minto. Yeah, they are rather annoying, aren't they? This is one's coming from Microsoft, so literally connected to the laptop. Fuck off. Middle class nerds. Good evening, it's the Morton. Rejoice, comrades, it's the Morton is in chat. How are you? Great to see you in the stream, in the chat, my friend. Scottish Parliament's version of the Argyll and Bute constituency has a vastness and complexity almost worthy of a small country in its own right. At its northernmost part, stretched to within a stone's throw of Glencoe, and its southernmost point of the Mull of Kintyre. It's just 12 miles away from the constituency of North Antrim in Northern Ireland. Friends and somewhat family members live in North Antrim. So that it is on the west coast here. We are so fucking close to Ireland. It is mental. People have tried to swim it, but I wouldn't recommend it. There's a current and there's an underground whirlpool essentially, and no. Do not recommend. Please do not do that. If you want to swim on the west coast, just go off beach. Just go off Ayr Beach. Fucking cold water, but if you want to do it, have at, I guess. You can let it in. A substantial minority of its land area is comprised of around 24 inhabited Inner Hebridean islands, including Tiree and Islay, where Gaelic clings on as a natively spoken language. Yeah. You've got auto-modded. Give me a minute. Hello. Those two were fucking wanks. That's why I left. I would have liked to have seen the Atunchi one that Kev was watching. Ironically though, in one area of the constituency's geographical expanse does not take in its most significant population centre of the Argyll and Bute local authority, namely the predominantly wealthy area around Helensburgh and Rue, close to the Faslane nuclear base, and that's part of Dumbarton. We've already covered that one, even though it's further down the alphabet. I covered it last night. Tory supporters in that locality have become notorious for their key role in preventing the SNP from winning a Holyrood overall majority in both 2016 and 2021. By seemingly engaging in massive-scale tactical voting for Labour's Dumbarton MSP Jackie Baillie, unionist parties working together to prevent the SNP. What a surprise. I swear to God, these two parties better just fucking die already up here. But in Westminster terms, Helensburgh is a full part of Argyll, Bute and South Lochaber constituency. It's a weird one. And that didn't prevent Brendan O'Hara holding the seat for the SNP at the 2024 election by a remarkably comfortable margin of 14 points over the scum. Good. Oh, motherfucker. Give me a moment, please, chat. Boom. Go there. You come here. Ah, fuck. Fuck it, me as well. Nearly ready. Fuck, I can read it while I'm here anyway. It was one of only 9 seats that SNP won in Scotland in an otherwise extremely disappointing national defeat, because vast areas of Scotland, including the Central Belt, including my own constituency that I live in, went back to Labour. And I kept on telling everyone, 2 fucking years ago. Do not trust the bastards. We know exactly what they're like. They'll just fucking neglect us again or do shit fuckery to us. And look what is happening. I've had people come up to me in the street and in the pub apologising to me. Why didn't we just listen to you, Katie? I have no idea. I can't look into your minds. I warned yous. I'll keep on saying this. I think I'm Cassandra. It might be glibly suggested that if the SNP could overcome their Helensburgh problem, twin so easily in an unusually difficult circumstances of 2024, winning the Holyrood seat without Helensburgh ought to be a piece of cake, one would think. And there may even be a grain of truth in that. A little bit of truth, I guess. Because the Tory-friendly demographics in and around Helensburgh are not consistently mirrored elsewhere in Argyll and Bute. The central part of Rothesay in the Isle of Bute, for example, has a heavy concentration of lower income households and low house prices, belying the town's beautiful setting and former status as Glaswegians' favourite holiday destination. I will show you images of Rothesay. I have been 4 times. Rothesay is absolutely fucking gorgeous. No problem. You will hear my lovely voice if you think it's lovely. Much of the same pattern is seen in Dunoon in Campbelltown. I haven't been to Dunoon or Campbelltown yet. Like, Campbelltown's a bit of a faff to get to. I suppose we could go and visit in the summer. There is a bus that goes straight to it. Oh, Dargeshes went live. It's noteworthy that in the 2022 local elections, the Conservatives did not top the popular vote in even a single one of the 8 local government wards that fall within the Scottish Parliament constituency. Get wrecked. Although admittedly that may be slightly deceptive due to the tendency of natural Tory support in rural areas to back independent candidates for local council. That does happen out in the Western Isles. Probably the main reason that the potentially large numbers of Tory tactical voters were so completely powerless to stop SNP in 2024 is simply that there is no clear and obvious repository for unionist tactical votes within Argyll and Bute. Voting for the Conservatives themselves is a dubious strategy because even in the better years for the party, they've consistently fallen short of winning the constituency at both Westminster and Holyrood since '87. For many years, voting Lib Dem did the trick. Why? Indeed, there used to be a joke that the Lib Dems kept winning the constituency without having any real supporters in it because the supporters of all the other parties voted for them to keep each other out. That is the natural end of tactical voting. The Lib Dems always fucking win. Usually only by a few points, oddly enough. Oh Christ, Alan Reid. But that spell is now well and truly been broken. The Lib Dems finished a distant 3rd in 2021 and 4th in the Westminster elections 2 years ago. The former Lib Dem MP, Alan Reid, pictured here, deserves a lot of credit for standing in Argyll and Bute yet again this year because by this point he must know as well as anyone that his chances are extremely slim. Still going to do it. Glad for punishment, I guess. Hater of the educated. That's an interesting name. Hello, hater of the educated. I am Madcat79 Scotty, a Scottish disabled Marxist streamer. I talk about health, disability and politics and some history as well. Currently, Holyrood election happening, so doing constituency profiles, a few of them each night, to give everyone the lay of the land across Scotland as to what might happen in the Holyrood election. It do be fun. The SNP's own standard bearer and me will once again be the sitting MSP of Jenny Minto, the one at the top, the picture at the top, who looks practically assured of finishing ahead of our party's traditional rivals due to the nationwide Tory and Labour collapse. Correct. In other circumstances, Reform might fancy their chances in a seat where an exceptionally high amount, 32%, of eligible voters are over 65. But support for Brexit is almost as low in Argyll and Bute as it is in Scotland as a whole. This does not look like fertile ground for Manfrog and Reform, so the SNP can be confidently expected. Cool. Cool. I think that's me done them all. I've done my standard 5. Let's see. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I have done my 5. So I'm doing them in blocks of 5. Am I past the 30? Oh, we're up to 40 now. We're up to 40. So doing 5 each night. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sunday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Monday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tuesday. Wednesday. Thursday. So that's a week. And that'll be me done over half of them. Yeah, 5 a night seems good. Okay, back to the YouTube. Back to YouTube. Hang on, I'll clear up my tabs here. That's me, that's my dashboard. Close tab. Close tab. Close tab. Close tab. Is that one there? That's me. There we go. That can't be right. Kev can't still be live, can he? You're fucking kidding me. You can't. Fucking, it's a back of 1.
To the French and the Germans, and I'm sure there was mutual superiority complexes as well.
To pretend that it was.
But it wasn't just the slaves that were multiracial. It was the slaveholders too.
He's still
At
alive.
slavery's peak in 1860,
You feeling okay there, Kev?
thousands of
Fucking
slaves
hell.
were owned by Choctaws, Cherokees, Creeks, and Chickasaw.
Surprised. Right. News. Oh! Dundee. This might be fun.
6 weeks today, voters will decide who will represent them in the next Scottish Parliament. It's an election that will determine who will have responsibility for public services we rely on day to day. Health, education and transport, as well as many of the taxes that we pay. I've come back to Dundee, the city where I grew up, to find out what issues are on voters' minds in the countdown to polling day.
Back at my old school, a lot has changed. The building I knew has been replaced with a modern upgrade, which opened 10 years ago.
Wow.
Parts of the old building remain, linking the past to the present.
Hi guys.
Welcome to our academy.
Thank you very much. Hiya, I'm Ewan.
Hi.
Inside, some of its original features have been retained.
Wow.
A board bears the name of a former political leader, as well as my own a few years above.
So what is happening in May? Election. So
May is a big month for these current pupils. The higher politics class is revising for exams, and they're also looking forward to voting in their first election.
You will be going to the polls for the first time in May.
And students here are keen to put that knowledge into practice.
It means that I can
Cool.
actually have a say in decisions that are being made, because I think in the end it's young people that are going to be affected by decisions.
And it's quite exciting that I can finally say that, oh yeah, I get to vote after like doing politics and modern studies for years now.
Do you feel young people's views are being listened to now?
I think it's getting better, but sometimes I feel like young people are like sometimes pushed under the rug. They're kind of taken for granted. Basically, some parties I think that young people will vote for them no matter what, but I don't think that's the case.
They're going to have to work to get your
Yeah.
vote then, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you think young people are being listened to, and do you think your vote will make a difference?
I definitely do think so. There's been an outreach on apps like Instagram, TikTok, things like that, to definitely try and cater towards younger voters and a young audience. So I do see them taking our vote into consideration, which is really good to see.
Do you know at the moment? Have you been thinking about it?
I've just been looking over them and trying to...
Florian? Florian? What the fuck? That's not your traditional Dundee name, by the way. Don't get me wrong, I think Florian's a lovely name. But when I hear Dundee, I think of names like Brian or Stephanie or Duncan or maybe even a Katie.
find out myself, not looking
Katie is
for other
an
people's
odd one
opinions.
as well.
It's not just about taking part. The big issues will shape
Not Katie,
how
not
they
the person.
vote.
Her name's
What
a
kind
bit
of areas do you think will determine
unusual.
who you vote for?
The main one's climate change, because I do higher geography, and that's kind of made me realise like how like the world's gonna be impacted, not just now but will in the future.
The main issue that will affect my vote is climate change. I think it's a big issue that will affect us and future generations, so it needs to be taken into consideration.
I think for me, the big ones are focusing on poverty, education, because that's obviously my future, public spending and how much they're spending on benefits.
Is there anything in education that you think needs to be changed?
Well, I don't want to see things like student funding go away. That's a little scary. I do think there should be a bit more investment into things like university.
Obviously we're going to uni next year, and one thing Scotland has that England doesn't is our tuitions are free, or basically free. So I feel like if that can continue, that's the best possible outcome.
And do you think, lots of young people are on a similar page to you when it comes to, choosing who to vote for?
I honestly wouldn't say so. I think especially with how the political climate is now, things like that, it's so overwhelming and people just find it quite dull and boring and they don't really want to get involved with it.
Dundee has a long history of creativity and innovation. It is the city of discovery.
It's also a city that has seen huge investment. This waterfront has been transformed almost beyond recognition from when I lived here, thanks to more than £1.5 billion of cash. But while so much has changed,
Dundee looks absolutely beautiful. I jibe about Dundee. Being from Perth, there's a rivalry between where I'm from and Dundee. But I love Dundee and the work that they've put into it to make the waterfront look absolutely fucking peak. It's brilliant. Dundee's awesome. There was the old adage, basically, the home of Duke Jam and journalism. Dundee.
Striking is that many of the challenges facing people now are the same as they were 30 years ago.
In Wahey, the community larder is a lifeline for those struggling to put food on the table. Next door, it also serves up hot meals and provides a sanctuary for anyone needing support. Stephen was made redundant in February.
I've always had money, so I've been working for the last, I don't know how many years and decades. But now that I'm not working, I can see just things like a bus and getting a weekly shop, and you know, it's quite expensive.
So you've been coming here a couple of weeks now.
Well, it's great because they're great, friendly staff. When I first came here, they says, would you like some food, you know, and we'll sort you out.
That's good to hear.
It's a great place to gather, you know. I'm just thankful that there is places like this, because there's people, you know, that are in financial difficulty, you know, and this is definitely a lifeline, so to speak, yeah.
Sam has been the driving force behind this charity since helping start it up 7 years ago.
We've got more and more demand on us. We initially only wanted to be open 5 years.
So how are you coping with demand?
We're only just coping. Funding wise, we spend more than we can get in sometimes, but the customers do help. When they come through the door, they are paying to make sure we can keep food coming through the door.
This has long been one of the most deprived areas of Dundee. The cost of living crisis has hit hard here.
So mental health is a big thing, being sanctioned, not having enough money coming through the doors, or just really genuinely just struggling in life and feeling left out. They feel that they're just the small part and that nobody's going to help and that there's nobody there for them. And by the time they leave here, their shoulders are higher than they were when they came in. They're feeling more positive, they've got what they need.
For Stephen, the issues aren't abstract and will affect his decision at the ballot box.
The people that come to rely on places like this, like yourself, and what do you think politicians can do to help them? Do you think politicians can make a difference?
Yeah, I think so. If they're dedicated and they want to deliver, you know, I've got to have faith in them, even though I don't have faith, but you've got to just give them a chance.
Michelle, not her real name, didn't feel comfortable speaking to us on camera. She's been a regular here for more than 2 years.
For £3 today, I've gotten a big bag of stuff that would have cost me at least 20, so that saved me a fortune.
How are you finding things when it comes to cost of living and paying bills?
Cost of living is terrible at the minute, yeah. Being on universal credit is a bit difficult. I've spent a fortune on my electric, and I've only got my 24-hour off-peak heating on. That's it. That's all I can afford.
For Michelle, the cost of living is a constant challenge that shows no sign of easing.
So you've been cutting back in things?
Yeah.
You're making difficult choices?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. You have to. You have to choose between hot water or heating. You shouldn't have to choose that in this day and age. It's ridiculous. And choosing maybe even only to have one meal a day for the sake of just saving yourself money.
Sam knows the charity is making a difference, but feels frustration at the increasing demand for the service they provide.
Food isn't something we choose, it's something we need as a basic necessity. So why should we be fighting to have food? Why should we be trying to choose between heating and eating? We shouldn't, not in this day and age.
Sam's message to politicians is clear.
Have a government supermarket where they fund the basic necessities. So you're talking your 5 essentials for everybody, that they can come into this supermarket and get the essentials to keep them living day to day.
And when you hear them talking about tackling poverty, eliminating child poverty, what do you think when you hear that?
I hope they're going to do it, genuinely. I see local councils doing it brilliantly, and they are. They're fighting where they can. On a wider scale, I don't see it as much. I see charities doing it. not the government.
Across the city, one of the country's fastest growing sports is in full swing.
I'm one of the undecided.
Undecided? Oh, you're a politician's dream. You are?
Well, they need to convince me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Moriamo has been playing pickleball since retiring almost 4 years ago. The biggest issue for her in this election is the NHS.
Waiting list is the biggest concern. Some people are having to go out, raise funds to get private clinical, which is not ideal. If you don't have anyone to support you, you'll be waiting, suffering, and that's not nice. Everything costs money, but sometimes politicians need to make difficult decisions, but they need to be honest in making that difficult decision. I feel there are wastage somewhere. They need to look at that, and they need to be much more transparent than they are. There are no quick wins. They need to bite the bullet and sort it out. I don't have the answer, but that's their job, and they need to make sure people are not suffering. They need to help people.
The main thing for me is health and social care.
Janice used to work in the NHS and shares concern about its future.
I think there should be some investment in people who can take the pressure off consultants in secondary care, GPs in primary care, like allied health professions, pharmacists, physios, OTs, paramedics. They can help prevent admission, take away a lot of the work of GPs and consultants. And I can see there's a lot of wasted money. How to solve that? I don't know.
Accessing a GP is a big issue here. But there are doubts promises to end the ATM rush for appointments can be fulfilled.
Yeah, I don't know where the government think they're going to find all these GPs from, because they're not out there.
I'm self-employed. Got my own travel and tourism business.
For many here, the NHS isn't just a political issue, it's personal.
The NHS is very important. My dad had a triple bypass, my mum's had both hips done. Very important to me that the NHS stays the way it is or improves. My kids are older now, so education isn't as big a priority, but you still keep one eye on it and hope that things are going to get better, because I don't know if the education system's as good as it possibly could be, and I'd like to see that improved, you know. I think discipline in schools seems to have gone. It doesn't seem to be a priority. We don't exclude anybody, and I think sometimes that could be to the detriment of the kids who want to learn, you know.
Immigration is one of the most divisive issues in this election.
Oh,
Anas
no.
moved here from India almost 6 years ago.
We left our family, our friends, everything in our home country, and we migrated here to get to a better life. If it is coming against us that we are not allowed to live here anymore, or it's becoming a question mark, or creating
Anas, who is
uncertainty,
not
there's a lot of
Enos,
stress.
I would hope.
My wife works with the NHS, and we are paying taxes here, and we are doing everything what we are supposed to do in the country. And still, if we are asked to leave, that seems like quite unfair. We are not doing anything wrong. We came here to build our lives. We are looking for a government which can support us.
Dundee has seen big changes. The Scottish Parliament is about to undergo its own transformation, with a record number of MSPs standing down. From classrooms to community centres across this city, voters are weighing up the issues that matter most to them. In 6 weeks' time, they'll decide who they trust to deliver on the NHS, the cost of living, and Scotland's future.
Thank you. It's an hour and 20 minutes. That would actually take me to my standard 3 hours. Or probably slightly over it, because I'll have to pause and counter what these two wanks are saying. Who's up for it? Put it in watch later. Let's do a music break just as a palate cleanse, or we can do something fun if you want. I quite like that. I like that. Fuck it. Let's see if there's one about Bondi.
Hey there, folks. Hope you're doing well today. Well, it turns out the clown car has no doors, and people are just falling out of it. Kristi Noem was recently fired after a scandal where her husband was cross-dressing, and now we have Pam Bondi fired. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Everyone on the right is celebrating. And so today we thought we'd take a look and see how the right is putting all of Pam Bondi's firing in perspective. So we thought we'd look at Greg Kelly from Newsmax. Let's dive in.
Yes, Pam Bondi, fired, Attorney General. It was about time. This does not mean the administration is in chaos or anything like that. Every administration has some turnover that is appropriate, that is something I predicted and quite...
Appropriate turnover? You what?
frankly called for a little over almost 2 months ago. I was frustrated and I said it. Pam, I like her, but she's in over her head and she's not doing the bidding of, and that's okay, the bidding of, yes, you can do the bidding of the, we voted for the president. He did his part. And now the people he appointed have to do their part. And I don't think Pam...
The cases she was pursuing are not valid. They're anti-constitutional. And stupid as fuck. And you fired her for doing something that is not legally possible. Yeah. Not that he gives, and not that he knows or gives a fuck about it.
Is living up to that responsibility. Lots of theatrics on her part today before the House. That's great. But she was
theatrics from Trump.
Evasive, and I think she is not to be trusted, and I hope she leaves soon.
Okay, so this is the moment we're in. It feels like 2026 is I told you so. And yes, we do a lot of that on this channel. That's just because our predictions came true and we're using it to continue to argue our case. But we're going beyond just I told you so and trying to teach people critical thinking and trying to show them, hey, there's dumbasses out there, don't be one of them. But when we dig into the meat and potatoes of what he was actually...
Yay! Kev Reid. Hello. Welcome everyone. As you may know, most of you, I would assume all 40 of you, I would think. I am MadCat79 Scotty, a Scottish Today disabled Marxist streamer. We are taking a break from the Scottish politics and watching how the right are reacting to the firing of Pam Bondi. So this is Dark Brandon, this is a leopard. I would assume you get the joke. Hello, Andy. Yay! Hello, Gemma, my darling. How are you? Quack, quack. Hello, everyone. Oh, my God. Thank you for the raid, Brummy Comrade. Everyone, go and follow Kev. He do be awesome. Darling, hello, Miss Hire. I doff my cap to you, which I'm not wearing. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're taking a short break. I'm watching this one for a change. Then we'll go right back into There's a Debate from the Daily Record of all places. We'll be going on to that one next. What be happening? Ornery. I hope you're well, though. I am doing quite well. I am getting rather pissed off, though. Ah! The dry skin under my eyes is irritating the fuck out of me. I might need to actually put my cream on it to help. I keep on meaning to go and get it out the drawer, but fuck it. You're from Bondi's native land. Florida, wow. My sympathies, Gio. But you are based. You're one of the based Floridians. You're obviously there are men in Florida. I get that, but not everyone is Florida man. And Florida man is unique. Yeah. Hello, Talia. Thank you. Hello, indeed. We are indeed. We are indeed. 10 PM UK time. Set your alarms accordingly. Please refresh so the view counts. For those of you who are not subscribed, I do apologise for ads. I don't have them I don't have them coming up on the screen. So if they do happen, say post in the chat that you're stuck in ad hell and I will pause and we will wait for you to come back. Self-care. Self-care is a form of resistance. It is indeed. I try to do self-care. I've got a carer. Super happy. You may hear me talk about him. He do be awesome. He looks after me. He helped me wash my hair earlier. Is it also 7 hours behind? So it's either 7 or 6. So it's either 3 PM or 4 PM for Pacific Coast. So Florida's 5 hours behind. So that'll be 5 PM for anyone in Florida or the Eastern Seaboard, or anyone on the other side, 2 PM. Like people like Raptor or Soup or Avalon of Babylon. 2 PM for them. I think most of them will be in... Oh no, it's a holiday weekend, isn't it? We might get some American comrades in the chat, Andy, tomorrow. We will find out though, of course. Carry on. Leopard.
He's basically saying
Hello,
that
everyone.
Pam Bondi disappointed those on the right consistently. The statements she made about the Epstein files, the way she handled her hearing.
Thank you,
but
Andy.
They're acting like she acted independently, which she didn't. She was serving the president, following his orders. And they want to forget that and just use her as the scapegoat, blame everything on her. But let's see how Greg continues his victory lap.
Wow. So, it happens. Politics, politics. It's tough. But you know what was really tough when President Trump got locked up 4 times and he did absolutely nothing wrong. He deserves accountability. He is the president.
What? Locked up? No. He's never been locked up. He's had to make appearances. No, he hasn't been locked up. Oddly enough. I think we would find out if Donald Trump had been put in jail or prison. I think that might be newsworthy, don't you? So, Greg, no, you are talking bollocks there. He's never been locked up. I will say no more.
President of the United States. People committed criminal acts to put him in this position, and they must be exposed. President Trump has the right, quite frankly, he has the duty to pursue cases against those who did this, who tried to take away democracy from all of us. These individuals right here. And Pam Bondi couldn't figure out a case when all of them figured out cases against Trump. Fake cases. These people did really, really, really bad things. And Pam couldn't figure it out. Now, there's a reason for that.
Man.
Oh, Jay.
Trump? Fake cases? These people did really, really, really bad things. And Pam couldn't figure it out. Now, there's a reason for that.
Man, Greg is so close. He's at least figured out there's a reason why 4 different prosecutors were able to come up with 4 different cases against Donald Trump. But he can't make this connection that it's because Donald Trump is a criminal, and not only a criminal, but a bad one who leaves evidence everywhere he goes. Oh yeah, and the reason why Pam Bondi wasn't able to press charges against any of those people is because they didn't commit crimes. At this point...
One of them was white, oddly enough. But yes. 2 of those people were actual prosecutors in the Southern District of New York, and those ones got prosecuted. He actually got charged and things like that. Hashtag 34. That's all I need to say about that one. He is a convicted fucking felon. Why the fuck is he president? I don't know. Would a third impeachment work this time? Probably not. It's all about timing with this one, methinks. And even then, it might not go through because they need 3/4 or 2/3. Slight difference in both of those, but so they need a 2/3 majority through both houses, I hasten to add. That's why the impeachments failed the last time. He is the only president ever to be impeached twice. Thank you, GOP. Fuck off. Get wrecked.
It really feels like we're all on the dipshit express. But yeah, this is where MAGA and the right are going. This is what they're talking about. Now, it gets better. Greg brings receipts. But before we look to Greg's receipts, we've brought some of our own. And so while Greg wants to blame Pam Bondi on everything, Pam Bondi wasn't out there attacking Trump supporters for wanting the release of the files. That was Donald Trump. And the thing is, it's on video multiple times. He was tweeting about it. Let's go in the Wayback Machine and remember.
This morning, President Trump snapping at his own supporters who have criticized his administration's handling of the investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
They're stupid people.
As Republicans press the Justice Department to release additional files, the president calling it all a hoax. Writing on social media, my past supporters have bought in, hook, line, and sinker, saying let these weaklings continue forward because I don't want their support anymore.
It's not the Attorney General, no. I know it's a hoax.
But for years, it was
winning
Trump
voters. I
some
see
of his
there with that
closest
one.
allies, including his FBI director Kash Patel and his deputy Dan Bongino, who pushed conspiracy theories about Epstein and his alleged client list. Even his own vice president saying this in 2024.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
And the president's son last summer.
How is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one...
Because there was enough evidence, Junior. Do you not know how your legal system works? Apparently not. Yeah, he is such a brat. Yeah, just give me a brick wall that I can smash my head against, please. It'd be easier than listening to these bastards at times. Yeah, he's so fucking stupid. Fucking hell. Like father, like son? Mm-hmm. Well, he is kind of like his dad, isn't he? Praise be my darling. I will be coming for you. I will be assisting you, my dear. I will not give any information in case you don't want to get doxed or anything. I will keep you company, my darling. I will read news stories if you want, because there's plenty of news flying about, obviously.
On Epstein's list has even been brought to light.
So we see Greg wanting to hold Pam Bondi accountable, but he wants to forget Donald Trump's actions and hold him with no accountability whatsoever. It could not be more clear they're just trying to make Pam a scapegoat. And don't get it twisted, Pam is not a good person. But again, for people to think that she was out there acting independently, but to think that she was out there acting independently is just batshit crazy. Every moment, every action she did was trying to please Donald Trump. And Donald Trump himself consistently praised Pam Bondi through the whole cover-up of the Epstein files. And
oh, quickly, they struggle with me as well. Hang on, I'll show everyone. First, fun fact or PSA, if you wish, take it, use whatever classification you want. They struggle on both arms and my wrists at times to actually get a vein. That's why when I went in to get my gallbladder removed, they couldn't find a vein. They'd all retreated. They all go back. All the blood rushes back to the core for reasons that I don't want to explain. It's too long and complicated at times. But my veins basically vanish. And they use the tourniquet and tighten it, and they still fucking struggle. Oh, for Christ, come on. Ah! Found one. Got one. There. Left arm. Whenever they need to take blood from me, the phlebotomist or the nurse, or sometimes the sister matron, ask me what one is best. Take your pick. You can try both if you want. Do they struggle to get blood out of you as well, Davinia? Fuck. It mostly happens with women for some reason. We have to keep our core warmer for reasons. I don't know. I don't want to go into the differences between the EMAB and AFAB. The human body is odd. Just take that as a given. But they sometimes, don't get me wrong, they struggle with men as well to get a vein. But it mostly happens to women. I don't know. Maybe I'm a vampire. I've always been a night owl, Miss Hire. Oddly enough. Because most of the time I like sort of horror and weird sort of sci-fi films. Don't get me wrong, he likes them as well. But some of the I like Korean and Japanese horror movies. He's not into them as much. He likes horror movies, don't get me wrong, like Hills Have Eyes, Nightmare on Elm Street, those kind of ones. But the ones that I watch are usually on after midnight. Because I be odd. Oh, they've tried that on me as well, and that one usually fucking struggles as well. They just, right, fine, no, we have trained people, just get a nurse to fucking do it. I'll say this, my sister used me as a guinea pig. She was getting taught differently when she was doing her degree. So me and Mum decided, are you okay doing this? Yeah, fuck it. Yeah. So my sister used me as a guinea pig to train to actually find the veins and stuff. So she could take blood. I'm glad I helped her. Hi, Alice.
Imagine that. There's video of it.
There'd be transparency in the Epstein case. Do you agree with her, sir?
The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. And I think that when you look at it, you'll understand that. I would like to see that also. But I think the Attorney General, the credibility is very important. And you want credible evidence with something like that. And I think the Attorney General has handled it very well.
How many more plans? The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on
I can't. My face hurts. Fucking hell.
What subject?
Parodying himself, yeah.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen.
And so there we see Donald Trump saying that Pam Bondi told him his name was not in the files. We later went on to learn it was in there thousands of times. And so this is something the right exploits, is that people have no memory whatsoever. Okay, so let's get back to Greg. So far, we've seen him make the case that Pam Bondi didn't do her job, that she didn't go after the prosecutors that tried to prosecute Donald Trump, and now he's going to show some of his receipts. Let's take a look.
If she had done better during this hearing, maybe we wouldn't be here today. You got to remember, though, in my opinion, Pam Bondi is acting. She doesn't really believe it. She is performing. Watch.
So I really have just one question for you. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question. Wait, I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the way I
ridiculous.
asked.
Okay, so this is wild. Greg is using clips of Democrats questioning Pam Bondi to make a case against Pam Bondi. Like, not only are we watching the right tear each other down, but they're using our words, our logic, our way of getting these compulsive liars caught in a lie. But it's not just one clip, it's multiple clips that he's using where Democrats make Pam look foolish, that he in turn uses to make his argument. Let's take a look.
All right. She's desperate, and it is an act, and I have the evidence that it's an act in a little bit. But then this happened.
When you ask a question, the witness gets to answer. You may not like the answer, but
Not
she
too
gets
bad,
to
but
answer.
a few basically
They don't like the answer, Chairman,
But I am.
because it's honest. So he asked a 4-minute
They're
question,
putting their own faces.
and I am going to answer.
You can let her filibuster all day
Correct,
long, but
Andy.
not on our watch. Not on our time. No way. And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we saw what you did in the Senate.
You're a lawyer, not even a lawyer.
I can't stand Jamie Raskin, but you don't tell me. Very childish. And then...
But Greg is now trying to make this argument that what she's doing is an act. And yeah, 100%. Guess what, Greg? What you're doing is an act too.
Pretty
You're
much,
all
Savannah.
out here just
Yeah.
pandering to Donald Trump's orange limp dick. All of you have turned worshiping their leader into a game of Survivor. And guess what? We're getting into the later stages of the game. Pam Bondi voted off the island. Kristi Noem voted off the island. And we see the common theme. Both are the scapegoats for Donald Trump's incompetency. Instead of holding Donald Trump accountable, he could just fire these people and MAGA will hold them accountable. Dear leader doesn't make mistakes. Dear leader only shoots holes in one. dear leader grabs him by the pussy, and that's okay. So let's see how Greg lands this plane.
One more.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear around.
My God. Yeah, she's definitely like that, Miss Hire. Yeah. Yeah. Look at the hematoma. That's a good idea, actually, darling. Yeah. They have to look at that. Underlying problems that we don't need to get into on stream, obviously, or in the chat. But yeah, that needs investigated, at least in my estimation. Not that I'm a doctor or anything, but I have knowledge, but not educated to that sort of level. I understand how the body works, essentially, mostly how the body works, essentially, kind of.
Asking. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7.
Who cares about the Dow or the S&P 500? Are you working in the best interests of the American people? No, you are fucking not. Any of yous. Democrats do better. I still fucking hate yous. But you need to be putting up a better front against these sort of lunatics. Might it be a good... Wow. Thank you for telling me that, my dear. But the Dow... Seriously, fuck the Dow. I don't care. Be better for the American people. Make their standard of living better. I don't know. Have they done it on the majority report? Thank you, Omaha. It's been ages since I've actually stepped into the majority report. I miss Emma. I miss Emma. And Sam's obviously Sam. Sam. Praise be Sam. Sam is good.
1,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about.
Only a certain percentage of the American populace. Pam, you fucking idiot. Yeah. Your standard working class American is fucking suffering and struggling. Same over here, obviously. Oh, thank you, my dear.
We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
It's not, she's the Attorney General. She's talking about the economy, and I think she was, quite frankly, trying to ingratiate herself with President Trump to make up for her lack of aggression going after those prosecutors and trying to stay on the good side of the Bar Association, stuff like that.
So there you have it. Greg finally makes this connection. He says, when the Attorney General is talking about the Dow, I think she might be kissing Donald Trump's ass, just like you're doing right now, Greg. And
thank you, Story Girl. Praise be, based Australian anarchist. It's nice of... Yay! 5 subs! Gemma, you didn't need to do that. But thank you. Praise be, Story Girl. Everyone, go and follow Story Girl. Yay! More messages below. Hype train! Orchestra. Oh my god. Julian Wag, Terrell, Orchestran, and Moroccan, Moroccan Taxi. That's quite a name. I like that one. Level 2. Oh my god, so close. Rejoice, Orchestran, you're now subbed. You're saved from ad hell. Oh, no pressure, Davinia. Honestly, no. Don't feel guilty or anything. Having you here is more than enough. I love having you here. It's brilliant. We got 2 and 1 on the Euro Millions. £4.70. Better than a kick in the teeth. Story Girl's awesome, Andy, by the way. Praise be Gemma. She is good people. £4.70, yeah, it's not bad. I like. The ticket is in Super Hubby's phone, you know, like the wallet part, this bit here on the phone case. He is going out tomorrow because he needs to buy things. We are getting a delivery from Morrison's for Easter. We were missing a few things and he couldn't be arsed going to like a supermarket. He's just going to go into Springburn Shopping Centre. Story Girl, thank you. Mwah. Thank you so much.
Greg, you better watch your P's and Q's or you might be the next one voted off the island. But if I was Greg, the thing that would keep me up at night is just reality. And eventually it'll catch up. I mean, there's so many video clips that contradict all of Greg's ideas. And it's not like Pam Bondi's talking points on that day of the hearing were different than Donald Trump's. And we're going to see that buried clearly in this next clip.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net, and so they try and do the Democrats' work. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously had some very serious problems, who died 3-4 years ago. I'd rather talk about...
I think it was longer than 3 or 4 years ago, wasn't it? When did Epstein die? Didn't he? So 7 years ago. I thought he'd got that wrong. I knew it was longer than 3 or 4 years because I was in the middle of the pandemic. And he died before the pandemic happened. Fuck it, I'll check. Give me a minute. Ooh. When did Jeffrey Epstein die? 10th of August 2019. So it's just before the pandemic basically started, in a few months after that. I will not comment on how he died or the circumstances surrounding his death because reasons. There are people more vocal than me about this, obviously. Self-death, self-unaliving, or self-deletion. Feel free to think that if you want to. I'm of a certain mind and I will not say what. I don't want to fuel conspiracy theories. There's plenty of conspiracy theories surrounding his death circulating enough on the wilds of the internet. Especially on fucking Twitter. Fuck off, Elon. I'm never calling it X, you dickhead. Ah. Yeah, the awful is still happening, Miss Hire. Yeah. try not to speculate about that. Whatever happened in that place, in that jail cell. Yeah. He is dead, and that is all that matters. Essentially, kind of. Even though the Epstein files are still, basically they're going to circulate in the news for a good time yet. I would believe. Just saying.
About the success we have with the economy, the best we've ever had, and all of the things we've done, including the Middle East.
And so there you go. Donald Trump himself saying, hey, I'd rather talk about the financial success of the economy, i.e. the Dow, rather than the Epstein files. But the best part of that clip was how he ended it. He said, we should also be talking about the success of the Middle East. And this is as we're entering our 6th week in a war that's costing us $11 billion per week. And that estimate might be conservative. So let's just put that in perspective really quick. The energy crisis that we're about to have as a planet was single-handedly started by Donald Trump. But not only are we just going to have to pay more for everything, we're also going to have to pay for the $66 billion that it costs to start the energy crisis. Didn't somebody say this guy was good at business? Oh, no, wait. He bankrupted 6 businesses, and you MAGA dipshits thought he was good at business.
Leopards are eating my face. Leopards are eating my face.
We have a link from Miss Hire. Where be it? Give me the link. Thank you. Link, please. Where is it? Where is the link from Miss Hire? Gimme. I want my link. Ah! Oh, there's the subs. Look at all the lovely subs. Ah! Donald from 93. This should be fun. Thank you, Miss Hire. Much appreciated. Oh, it's a short. Thank God.
Is this you discussing Indian blood? We're going to judge people by whether they have Indian blood, whether they're qualified to run a gaming casino or not?
That probably is me, absolutely. Because I'll tell you what, if you look at some of the reservations that you've approved, you, sir, in your great wisdom have approved, I will tell you right now, they don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like to Indians. Now, maybe we say politically correct or not politically correct. They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians, and a lot of people are laughing at it, and you're telling how tough it is, how rough it is to get approved. Well, you go up to Connecticut.
That is what they were called by the white settlers. Your ancestors. Well, technically your dad was German and your mother was Scottish. So, other white settlers who came over from Europe, that is what they called them. They are nations. Sioux, Choctaw, Arapaho. That, it is difficult. I would need to go back and ask Dark Native and ask them what they would prefer me to use. I call them First Nation, essentially, or technically they are First Nation. They were already there before white settlers, before European settlers went over. They were. Deeply racist bastard, isn't he? But we already fucking know this.
And you look
from this point onwards.
They don't look like Indians to me, sir.
Thank God that's not the test of whether or not people have rights in this country or not, whether or not they pass your look test.
Depends whether or not you're approving it, sir.
No, it's not a question whether I'm approving it. It's not a question whether I'm approving it. Mr. Trump, you know in the history of this country where we've heard this discussion before, they don't look Jewish to me.
Oh, really?
They don't look Indian to me. They don't look Italian to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a test for whether people could go into business or not go into business, whether they could get a bank loan. You're too black. You're not black enough. Is this you discussing?
Thank you, Miss Hire. Donald Trump is a racist piece of shit. I would say who to think, but we already know this. Lots of people have known this for going on nearly 60 years at this point. I don't know if I could say that his dad, Frederick, was an F person. No. Watch later. Right. No need to stay around. Oh, well, that will take me to 3.5 hours. Plus me interjecting. Maybe I should leave that to my next stream. Nah, fuck it. Let's see. Ooh. That would be lovely. Yes. How do we do this, Andy? What would be the best one? You can post it in the Discord and I can bring it up. That would be the best way to do it. If you want to do that now. Thank you, Miss Hire. Always a pleasure to have you, my dear. Stay hydrated, not necessarily with cider. Self-care is good care. Take your meds. Stay based. Free Palestine and pray for a Tory and Lib Dem and Labour collapse here in Scotland and in the local elections down in England. Have fun with all the electioneering happening in Birmingham, my dear. The Greens being the big part, having the most seats. Fucking bring it. Indeed, vote Green. I will say vote Scottish Green, so vote Green, Scottish Green up here and vote Green down in England. If you need to do tactical voting to keep reform wankery out, I can understand to a certain extent, I guess. Tactical voting is a thing that does happen, is much to my consternation really, but fuck it. If you feel it's necessary to vote for someone else to keep reform out, I guess that's alright. Yeah. Plaid in Wales, exactly. Plaid in Wales as well, yes. So, SNP, Constituency, Scottish Greens list, Plaid Cymru in Wales. Or in Cymru.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Ho 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 ho. Bring it.
West Streeting is not to blame for burning those ambulances. Lancashire's potholes cost 47 million, but Reform prefer gravity. What's the cost of lasers? Reform or Begsby Droog Deadwood eye pop-outs. Previously on PMQs. I'll ask the questions. It's a legal bauble. I'll earn the clock tonight. And
renewables? The
twat. Funnier than I think. All this legal stuff. Shut up, bitch man. How about legal? Chain of command. It's not my job. Read the standing orders.
Energy
Housey juicy phony floozy. Ha, she can't even think about Semite Gate. War criminals and price gougers back me on this. They did it first. We didn't join the war. Mr. Speaker, I can repeat my questions more times than he can his answers. We haven't left the recap yet. How come the foreigners can drill? Haberdash, clog, rabbit, function, slip, gimbal, butter, 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 and now the conclusion. Dick. Bills are coming down. Down. Next time. And going over there. And there. He eats, he bites, he sucks, he rubs, he hurts, he frolics. Shamp, shamp, like you're in, the Kool-Aid, Coke, Coke.
Oh God, Alex. Are you in the Discord? Give me a second. I'll see if I can post it in the YouTube chat. Yes, that one. Naughty woman Discord. Invite to server. Copy. Disable. I want to see everyone's names. Minimize you. Where is my... Is it that one? Next one. There we go. Give me a second. Where's my chat? Give me my chat, god damn you. Live chat. Oh, there's a paste. Go. Ta-da! That's that one. That's my stream. I can get rid of you. Can get rid of you. Can go back to you. There you go. Link to the Numpty Women Discord. Have fun. It is in News Politics and UK in the Discord. Or S&P indeed, Miss Hire, thank you. Okay, oh dear God, this is going to be fun. Ah, it's Ross, not Gillian. Thank you, Auntie, that might be quite fun.
I'm Kevin Havelock, Head of Commercial Mid-Markets for the Royal Bank in Scotland. I'm particularly delighted to welcome you all here today. I just discovered that I was in that video, which I hadn't expected to see. I am not on a royalty check for that. We're particularly delighted today because this is the only occasion that all of the party leaders in Scotland will engage with the business community, and it really is a privilege for us to be involved. And as the nation's largest bank for business, we do really value every opportunity to give business a strong platform to engage with policymakers. And for almost 300 years, we've been serving and succeeding with customers and communities right across Scotland. And that commitment to partnership remains central to everything that we do. And actually, it's partnership that has brought us here today, and I want to recognise the power of that and how we have worked closely and constructively with many of the business representative organisations to bring a room like this together. And that collaboration reflects our belief that Scotland is at its strongest when industry and policymakers all work together, side by side, to focus on growth, investment and opportunity. So this year, on that note, through our Royal Bank Accelerator programme, we're supporting 5,000 Scottish entrepreneurs to start, scale and grow. And every week, more than 100 people in communities are able to make better financial decisions because of the work that we're doing in communities with our Financial Foundations workshops. And these programmes are just a couple of examples of where we reflect our belief in the importance in innovation, ambition and also financial capability. We're also investing in the infrastructure that Scotland needs for the future, and through our UK-wide 200 billion infrastructure fund, we are financing what is required for climate and transition funding through to 2030, supporting not only the development of Scotland's green economy, but also the businesses that will be the future. And we also back key moments in the economic calendar as well, such as the Royal Highland Show, which is coming up and is well in planning already, Scottish Edge Awards, and also the Scottish Global Investment Summit, which happened at the end of last year. So this afternoon we're looking forward to a constructive discussion, a good debate that's realistic about the challenges that we face in Scotland as businesses face into a very complex global environment, but also one that is ambitious about the opportunities ahead, and so that we are confident in Scotland's inherent economic capabilities. And it is now my pleasure to introduce our host for this afternoon, award-winning journalist and LBC presenter, Gina Davidson.
Thank you very much. Actually, maybe I've had my stopwatch on for that introduction. It's now 4:15. We've only got an hour left. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. We've got 6 people on this stage, so there's a lot that we need to get through quickly. I am not going to take up too much time, but I do need to thank, obviously, all of you for coming. I need to thank CBI Scotland, Scottish Chambers of Commerce, the Institute of Directors Scotland, the Federation of Small Businesses Scotland, and, of course, Prosper, for organising this event, all in partnership with the Times and Sunday Times. And if you are joining this conversation online, or even if you want to use social media from the room, there is a hashtag you can use, hashtag BizHustings, that's B-I-Z Hustings, because biz written that way is apparently cool. Also thanks, of course, to our panel for coming here. As we were just hearing, the first time all leaders of the parties have been on stage together. 35 days to go until the election. We have First Minister John Swinney, Anna Sarwar, the Scottish Labour leader, Russell Finlay, the Scottish Conservative leader, Malcolm Offord, leader of Reform UK in Scotland, Alex Cole-Hamilton, leader of the Scottish Liberal Democrats, and I've put him last because he was the last to arrive, Ross Greer, leader of the Scottish
You are indeed a journalist.
It's been a while, I think, since we've had an all-male tranche of party political leaders in Scotland, but who knows, maybe that will change after the election. So this event, who knows? It couldn't be more timely. We have just come into awful April, as it's being dubbed. Cost of living is causing us all problems.
Right, I was checking something. I don't know why my spacebar wasn't working there to pause it. I would love to see more female leaders. I would. Don't get me wrong. We have Gillian Mackay, the other co-leader. So we've got Ross Greer, who is on this panel for the Scottish Greens. We also have Gillian Mackay, who's the other co-leader. Gillian's amazing. I love her. I like Ross so much. He is List MSP for the west of Scotland.
We're in a very volatile world, cost rising, investment being held back, competitiveness, a growing concern, business rates, skilled workers, all of these things. But at the same time, of course, as we heard earlier, Scotland does have many economic strengths in its people, its energy, innovation, exports, and indeed the resilience of so many of you in this room today. So the central question today is pretty straightforward. Why aren't those strengths translating into stronger economic growth for Scotland? And can anyone here who might be in the next Scottish Government be able to do anything about that? And there is, of course, a chance for you to put your questions directly to the leaders here today. So each panel's leader is going to have a minute to open a kind of elevator pitch. There will also be an opening question to the panel, and then we'll go out to the audience. So remember to raise your hand and say who you are and who you represent, your business or your organisation, but try and keep it short. I know I've been going on for too long already. The party leaders, again, if they can keep their answers focused and to the point. I know you have difficulties with that. I'm in front of you all the time, so I may have to interrupt you on occasion because we've got a lot to get through. So we will start with the key question that everyone, I think, in this room probably does want answered, and you'll each have a minute to respond. And we're going to take this in order of the number of seats each party held at the last Parliament, starting with the First Minister, and then it's a more randomised selection when we get to the closing question. So, here we go. First Minister, John Swinney, the question is, why is your party best placed to grow Scotland's economy?
I think my party is best placed to grow the Scottish economy because we are focused at all times on ensuring Scotland is successful, and we demonstrate that by the way we take forward investment choices within the country, about how we take forward the international promotion of the country.
John's already failed. Yeah. Who's going to break that elevator pitch framing? Just because I don't like them and they keep on banging on about business, I'm going to see Malcolm offered for some strange reason, or maybe Russell Finlay, maybe a toss-up about what one of those two wankers actually doesn't do the proper elevator pitch and makes it far too long. Because, obviously. Yep, fail.
How we take decisions about investing in skills and infrastructure in Scotland, but also about, certainly in my own personal style, and how my government has operated under my leadership by engaging closely with the business community. And I recognise while we've got fundamental strengths in Scotland and our economy is strong, that's recognised by international commentary, and that we've been successful in attracting more and more investment to Scotland, we've got to recognise we've got to speed up the way in which we take decisions about economic choices and economic opportunities in Scotland. So part of what I'm going to set out during this election campaign is a series of commitments of what my government, if re-elected, would do in 100 days. And the first part of that would be to bring forward changes to our planning and regulatory systems to make sure that Scotland does business quicker than it does just now.
Thank you very much. Mr. Finlay.
Thank you very much. Our party is the party of business. I was at a gathering of business leaders a few months back, and I asked the room to raise their hands if they thought the Scottish Parliament understood business, and not a single hand went up. It might not surprise you to hear, including, for all that, John Swinney's hand stayed down as well. The same issues keep coming up. I've been leader of the party for just over a year, and we keep hearing about a broken planning system, rate system that is unfair, income tax that's harming jobs and investment, a skills gap, energy costs. It's the same issues, and so many of these can be fixed by the Scottish Parliament here in Scotland. And the track record.
Your National Party failed on that, Russell. Just saying. Some areas were booming, don't get me wrong, but the vast majority of smaller business, SMEs, small and medium enterprises, essentially what they're called, so small businesses. Thousands, and I repeat, thousands of them closed while your party were in charge down in Westminster. I don't know. Yes, indeed, Andy. Yeah.
Record of the Scottish Government after almost 20 years in power is failure, is one of complete failure. We will continue to put forward detailed policies in respect of each of these, and we will continue to be the voice of business. No matter what the result of that election, we will be a strong voice of business in the future Parliament.
Thank you. Anna Sauer.
Thanks, Gina. For 27 years, we've had a Scottish Parliament that's felt like it's focused on social policy and it feels like we've ignored economic policy. And the reality...
For the first 6 years, your party, not you or yourself, but your party, the Scottish Labour Party, were in coalition with the Lib Dems. You could have fixed things back then. You didn't. No. So, no, Aras, look in your own party's history, literally in the last sort of 2 decades, so... Yeah, oh fuck no. No. Things down here on the ground that most of yous don't literally address. Now, if we have a better social base, and more money for us, the people of Scotland, we can actually go out to businesses and buy stuff, pay our bills, and things of that nature. That can help grow the economy if you make a better base for everyone in the country. Your party and the Lib Dems didn't fucking do that. You done lip service for certain sectors, certain parts of society, but not the whole suite of what you could be doing. Yeah, well, he's a fucking puppet anyway. Anas, you're a muppet. Yeah.
Is we need a Scottish Parliament and a Scottish Government that is going to put the economy first and foremost. And I'm standing to be First Minister in this election because I'm someone that grew up in an entrepreneurial household. I was raised on the warehouse floor. I worked in our public services as a dentist, and for the last 5 years I've had the honour of leading my political party. So I've seen it from all angles. And the reality is we have to change the role of First Minister, and we have to change the role of our government. We need a First Minister in this country who doesn't believe the job of government is to legislate and regulate, but instead is to innovate, create, work in partnership, break down barriers.
Help! The role of the First Minister and the party behind him is to legislate to make things better for people like me, the people of Scotland. What the fuck, Anas? Help, chat, please. You need to legislate to do the things you want to do, to change things about this country and how it's run. So, fucking, what? Help?
Get things done and be a deal maker. We have to be clear about the sectors we want to grow, and today I hope to set out how we use the levers in Scotland to maximum economic effect.
Thank you very much, Oscar.
He went over when she said stop. Anas, you're a dickhead. Mind you, we already knew that.
It's probably not possible in 60 seconds to cover the Greens' philosophical approach to the concept of economic growth, so I'll leave that aside for a moment.
Rejoice, fellow Scot, in the chat. Hello, Wolfpet. Welcome in. How are you? Praise be Wolfpet. I just... how do I deal with Anas? Luckily, Labour are still polling third, by the way. Hello, hello. Welcome in.
If anybody wants our 40-part PowerPoint deck on that, you can email me about it. In terms of this election, though, we believe that the Scottish Government needs to be far more strategic in its approach to the economy. We have a national strategy for economic transformation that is not strategic or transformative because it's trying to be all things to all people. The Scottish Government cannot support every sector exhaustively, and it needs to be focused on the sectors that we believe Scotland can genuinely be a world leader in and where we can gain the most from. You would obviously expect us to say particularly renewable energy, but also areas like life sciences, film and television, and video games. We want to see a far greater share of Scotland's economy being owned by Scottish headquartered businesses. Not to say that we would drive out the multinationals, but it should be an economic objective of the government to grow the share of our economy that's actually owned from here in Scotland, so we harness the full benefits of that. And we would actually want to see Scottish enterprise and the National Investment Bank take greater risks. It's really frustrating every time a business that they've given support to fails, that we have negative headlines about that and condemnation of it in Parliament. The reality is, if government's going to support the private sector, it needs to be willing to take risks to do so, particularly startups, and that's an area of real risk aversion for Scottish enterprise.
Thanks, Ross. Alex.
Well, thanks, Gina, and welcome everyone to the Lib Dem Republic of West Edinburgh.
The Lib Dem Republic of West Edinburgh? What the fuck, Alex? That's quite a phrase. Just saying. By speed talking. Ross does naturally speak fast, by the way. From the conferences I've been part of, and all the plenaries I've been, and online streams and stuff for policy talking, blah, 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 and branch meetings and things of that nature, Ross does naturally speak fast. But he's still clear and you still understand him, but he just talks faster. I can talk fast, don't get me wrong. I try to be more measured and metered in my speaking, essentially, so everyone can hear what I am saying and how angry and frustrated I do get, oddly enough. People from Perth speak slower and somewhat softer, don't get me wrong. There's still Perth people who have kind of harsh accents, don't get me wrong, there's a few of them. But most people in Perth sound like how I sound. Nice and measured and clear. Because we were taught to speak the Queen's English and all that fucking bollocks. I do not speak the monarch's English. I speak Scots. As you can tell. Carry on, Alex. Fuck it.
It's hard to remember a time where...
Hang on, we'll go back.
Particularly startups, and that's an area of real risk aversion for Scottish enterprise.
Thanks, Ross. Alex.
Well, thanks, Gina, and welcome everyone to the Lib Dem Republic of West Edinburgh. It's hard to remember a time when it was this difficult to do business in Scotland or to grow the Scottish economy. Of course, there are the macro drags of Brexit and global economic shocks like the war in Iran. But there's the unforced errors of both governments as well, whether that's the national insurance contribution increases or the business rates revaluation in the Scottish government. And if there are three words that sum up the drag on our economy in Scotland right now, then they are these: planning, skills and housing. It's far too difficult to invest in Scotland right now. It can take years to get green-lighted for an investment decision on a macro scale in Scotland when it takes weeks in Scandinavia. Once you have those projects green-lighted...
Some of those things you are talking about, Alex, are reserved issues. We don't have access to them because Westminster are fucking bastards. Give us the tools that we need to do that sort of investment. But right now, we can't. Give us energy policy, if you please. Thank you, Westminster. Rant over. So fucking frustrating, isn't it, chat? Fucking hell. Anyway.
We don't have the skills pipeline necessary to feed those industries of the future, and we should be reaching for things that we're good at, like fintech, biotech, even data centres and AI and defence.
Fuck off with data centres. Sorry, Alex. No. No, 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 no. No. Hang on a minute. My dragon is butting up against my headphone. You go there. For if you're wondering what I'm talking about, go into the Discord and look for the pics channel, and you'll see the hairpins that I've got. One is sitting over there. That they're dual hairpins and bookmarks. So Super Hubby has one for his books as a bookmark. I have one in my hair right now. And if you want to see what it looks like, it's in the Discord. They are absolutely fucking gorgeous. He ordered them for me for Easter, and I love them. They're brilliant. Alex, talk to your leader down in Westminster to push for this, or if you want, you can speak to Christine Jardine, who's your... Technically, her constituency overlaps with his one, mostly. So that's Christine Jardine. She's an MP. She's down in Westminster. I do not like the woman. I hope she loses her fucking seat at the next general election. Is he related to Dave? I'm not sure, actually. I wouldn't think so. He's Lib Dem. He's Scottish. He does kind of look like him, doesn't he? Yeah. If anyone's wondering who we're talking about, it's David Steele. 80s? 80s. He was an MP. He was Scottish. I will play this, but I'll be back in 2 minutes, everyone. Carry on, Alex. Fuck it.
And then finally, we need to make sure there's somewhere for those guys to live, because a lot of these industries are not going to be situated in the central belt. They'll be in the remote rural places which are near to the wind farms that are feeding their power demands, and they need housing. I'd also say that the 800,000 Scots currently on a waiting list are creating a drag on our economy, not because they want to, but because they can't work, because they're waiting for a medical intervention. And finally, the white elephant, the big elephant that's staring us in the room, is that a phrase? The elephant in the room, that's Brexit. And we need to improve our relationship with Europe, making it easier to do business with our nearest neighbours, the biggest export market for the United Kingdom.
Okay.
Of course, Lib Dems will always stand up for that.
Okay, thanks very much. I think we'll get on to more international affairs later. Malcolm Moffat.
Thank you, Gina. So Reform UK, we would say that we think that Scotland is underperforming. For the potential that we have, the creativity of the people, the great universities we have, the innovation we've made over the years, the technologists that we've got. And I think at the end of the day, I think part of that has been a matter of culture. Certainly within the last 10 years, the SNP government have actually used this phrase, have created something called the welfare economy, which has got its merits, but I think we really need to focus on creating a wealth economy. That really is the heart of it. We have to grow the economy, and all the politicians say that. How do we actually do this? And the question is, what is the economy? The economy is not just some sort of magic thing up in the sky. It's just real people. It's you. It's 2.5 million people who work every day in Scottish society. And right now, you are overtaxed, overregulated, and you're told that you have the broadest shoulders, so you have to pay more. And the question is, are you getting better services back in return? And is it actually having some disincentives on you where you're actually being less productive than you should be? And so that's why the first thing we will do is cut tax to make the economy more productive, because we invest in you. We know you'll give it back in spades through increased revenue, which means increased taxes in the future.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll probably get into the detail of all of that shortly. We're going to start, we're having two themes to this event. The first one is domestic policy, the second, Scotland's potential on the world stage. We're going to start with what it looks like to do business in Scotland today. Look at the conditions. Those of you who were in the room earlier for the presentation will see how pessimistic people in the business world feel about the future at the moment, around as some of the things that were mentioned here: skills, planning, regulations, day-to-day realities about investment and so on. So businesses are facing rising costs, those skill shortages and slow planning systems. What is the one change that your government would prioritise in its first year to unlock investment and to unlock growth? I will come to you first, Anna.
Planning. It takes far too long to get decisions, and therefore investment goes elsewhere. And the example I always use is
yes, I noticed that when you sent me the DM earlier on.
The application takes 57 weeks. The average planning application in the city of Manchester takes 13 weeks. If you're competing for the same money and the same investor, the money's not coming to Glasgow, it's going somewhere else. So we will create a national planning hub which means we use central expertise. Projects identified as drivers of economic growth by the Office of the First Minister will have a national planning capacity dropped in. There will still be local decision making. We have a shortage of planners, so we will co-opt planners from the private sector too, and we will get things building in this country again. Of course, lots of other areas.
You're fine. That's a line that has been fed to him from Westminster, by the way, from the government. Or that talking point, essentially. Annas, I see right through you, by the way. He is slightly younger than me, so basically, Gen Xer, hello. Millennial. No millennial hate here, just Annas hate. And not the pure raw hate or anything, just in some cases general malaise towards this man, really. He's not going to be First Minister by any metric. Like I keep on saying, they're polling third. Ha ha ha. They might keep one or two constituencies, don't get me wrong, but going to some polls are going to be down to 11, I repeat, 11 MSPs. And that's you're fucked. Yes. Yeah.
But you asked for one, planning would unlock that investment.
Okay. Ross.
For us, it's planning as well. I was proud that when the Greens were in government, we worked with Hamza Yousaf on it, and he was then able to make the announcement that we would halve the consenting time for onshore wind in particular. But just following up on what Anas was saying, I don't see how we can possibly unblock the planning process until we sort out the root cause, which is the chronic underfunding of local government, because they make the vast majority of planning decisions. There are certain planning decisions that should be made centrally. Energy is a really obvious example of that, but we cannot have just a central hub for planning to solve all these issues. You cannot do that at scale. So the only way that we can unblock the planning system is fix how we fund our local councils. The fact that our councils are operating with their primary revenue-raising power being a council tax that's not been in date in my lifetime is ridiculous, and it harms us all, but it harms the whole variety of services councils provide that are essential to local businesses. So if you're asked for number one priority, for us the number one priority is to scrap and replace the council tax, because it's the only way to fix the local services that everyone, including the business community, rely on.
I was going to say planning, but I've decided not to copy the other two and go for skills. It's an absolute scandal that Scotland needs to import 300 welders to work in Babcock in Fife. And that's because the college sector in Scotland has been starved of cash by this government.
Don't you dare talk about immigration. Your party has been absolutely fucking dogshit on this issue, Russell. Thank you. Especially down at the Westminster level, right? So no. You could make it easier and create safe legal routes for people to come into the country, including people who have the skills that we need. And we can be funding education better. Not that your party would give a fuck about that, because you tripled fucking education costs down in England. Student fees, what are those? I didn't fucking pay them. Thank God. Praise be all the deities. Thank God for that one saving grace. I am so glad of that. I want free education. So we could be educating the people that we need to be working in the economy. Like I say, not that you're actually advocating for that. Or you might be advocating for it, but the methods that you are using are antithetical to that fucking goal. How do we get through to these fucking dickheads? Really? You're not listening to us. Not that a Tory would listen to me. A committed Marxist. An eco-socialist. So, fuck them. Yeah.
It's because the apprenticeship levy that all your member firms pay in the money doesn't come back out. We don't know exactly where all of it goes. And what we would do is ensure that we would work with employers, get the college sector funded, ensure that we're training people for the economy of today and of tomorrow. You get that right.
We can't do that because of the block grant from Westminster. That your party, I repeat that, your party, I will never get fed up of saying this, that your party literally damaged during the austerity years, so fuck off. We could have more money coming from the block grant because of austerity and the ban of consequentials for certain things that happen down south of the border. They affect what happens up here and how much funding we get. These bastards know this. They don't fucking mention it. They actually act like they're doing the best for us. No, they are not. Russell, get wrecked.
And then you've got a fighting chance to get the economy on the front foot and thriving.
Welcome. Just
so I
fucking
alluded to it in my intro. We think Scotland is overtaxed. It's overcomplicated. We've now got 6 tax bands versus England having 3. If you look across the water in Ireland.
Take off the 3 national ones and we've got 3. 3 of them literally have to exist because they come from Westminster. We have rejigged them a bit to be in favour of what happens up here in Scotland, Malcolm. But we've got 3 other bands that we created here by changing how the tax brackets work. So the 3, right, there may be 6, but 3 of them are the same. They literally come from Westminster. They're not going to change unless Rachel Reeves wants to do anything about them or change them. No. The other 3 are ways that we actually fund things that we want to do up here in Scotland, so fuck off. 3 of them can't do anything about. They come from Westminster. The other 3 we have instituted to make it better for us. But mind you, if they get in power down in Westminster, I live in, well, maybe not live in fear, I live in trepidation, let's say. Yeah. You and your party leader can fuck right off.
And they've got 2. And it's a lot of unintended consequences with these tax bans because it's creating a whole series of cliff edges, which is stopping productivity.
It's not the law of unintended consequences. You literally see how it passes through fucking parliaments. It is not unintended, it is literally literal. These things get passed by members of parliaments, be it Westminster or Holyrood or the Senate. It's not the law of You can see this legislation going through and you can plan accordingly. If you're a businessman, if you're a little pro like me, you can plan for these things with the journey of the legislation going through the parliaments. It is literally intended. You can see how it's going to map out. God, he's a fucking dickhead.
To give an example, we've got a situation now in the NHS where we know that nurses are being dragged up into higher tax bands and they're managing their hours. The same with doctors are managing their hours.
No, they're not. I've got an insider. I have asked her, are you in a higher tax bracket? I am, but I only pay this portion at that rate, and it is literally just a few pounds. So all these Reform, Tory and Labour ranks, yeah, they're talking bollocks. Most of the nurses, I'm talking about my sister, by the way. My younger sister is a community nurse, by the way. So she is in a higher tax bracket for a certain portion of her wage, which is kind of small, really. And the vast majority of our fellow colleagues are other nurses and things of that nature. They're in the higher tax bracket by little bits. essentially, not the full tax bracket. So he's talking about the £42,000 one. There's only a few nurses who are fully in that tax bracket, and most of them are nurses, so they're band G. So they're management sort of level in nursing, essentially, if you think of it like that. And the people who are fully in that tax bracket have been in the NHS, been nurses and sisters and matrons for like 20 or 30 odd years now at this point. Most of them in their late 50s or early 60s, nearing retirement. My sister's only been in for under 10 years at this point. Did you see yourself going into that higher tax bracket? Maybe a little bit more over the years, but not much. So the one who actually sends all of you out into your little communities, yeah, she's fully in the tax bracket. And she doesn't moan about the tax she has to pay either. Good for her. So, no, there's only a few nurses who are actually fully in that higher tax bracket. The vast majority of the nurses aren't. And my mum was only in the higher tax bracket for the last 4 years of her work before she retired, essentially. And she didn't moan about the tax she had to pay. She was still earning a decent amount. She was a sister, by the way. She was a midwife.
Because it's not just paying the additional on the extra hours, it's actually the withdrawal of some other benefits. So marginal tax rates become very, very high. So we've got a situation where...
Wrong. It works like that down in England, but not up here. Malcolm, you're lying. Thanks. I love having insiders in the NHS where this is concerned, because they keep on saying nurses are getting dragged into the higher tax bracket. For the vast majority, most of them are in marginally. So it goes on the different bands. If you go into that band, that amount above that band, that's you pay the higher tax rate on that portion that's into that band, however much it is. It's usually only like a couple of thousand a year, which is basically just a few pounds. Now you're paying extra in tax. The vast majority of the tax is from the lower tax band, which is the UK one that comes from Westminster. He doesn't mention that, does he?
We've got a workflow plan that's not working. We've got theatres sometimes empty with people waiting to come in, and therefore we've got a productivity issue. So our plan would be to get the 6.
Stop talking about productivity. There is meant to be slack in the NHS. I will say again, I've got insiders. It's not just my sister and my mum. My sister currently works, my mum is retired. I asked my sister that, should there be slack in the NHS? Yeah. Just give us the funding and we can cover everything and still have capacity left if anything major happens. My sister is correct. Praise be my younger sister. She is awesome. She is harassed. She's got two teenage boys. And she does a lot of hours. And she has a household to run. Her partner helps, don't worry. He does the majority of the cooking, actually, come to think of it. My sister is easy. She just takes something out of the freezer and puts it in the oven or under the grill. She's usually quite knackered when she comes back from work. Understandably.
Back to 3. That will cost £1.2 billion. And then we're more ambitious than that, because we then say we can make Scotland best place to work in the UK, and we can cut each of the 3 bands by 1p below England, and that way we will sign up.
Thanks! Taking away our funding. Malcolm, you fucking suck. Leave the tax bands as they are, if you please. Don't make me fucking yell at you more. My throat is in danger of going dry during this fucking electioneering, essentially. Leave the tax bans as they are, if you please. Now that you've said that, I think a lot of people here in Scotland might actually turn against you and not vote for you. Ha ha ha.
For business saying Scotland wants to be the most successful part of the UK. Come and live and work in Scotland, and that way we can increase the revenue which pays for the public services.
It wouldn't work like that. You want to cut the tax bans, whereas we'd cut the funding for the fucking country.
Excellent progress we've made in the last 12 months on the attraction of investment into Scotland. The Global Investment Summit that my government encouraged and collaborated with Scottish Financial Enterprise and various other organisations, including the City of London, has been hugely successful in opening up new investment channels for Scotland, and that's what we've got to deliver on. We've got to make sure Scotland is an investment-ready country, and I've made it my business in the last 12 months to make sure that that issue was taken by the scruff of the neck. We're now attractive for mid-market rent private housing, which we weren't before. We are now attracting more investment in relation to renewable energy. I want to remove the obstacles to that, not least of which are the slow decision-making of the United Kingdom government that's just lost us £1.5 billion worth of investment in renewable energy in Scotland. So there'll be a relentless focus on the attraction of investment. It would be at the heart of my...
For national security reasons, so it was a Chinese company that we wanted to work for in Scotland's interest. And the Westminster government blocked it for security reasons because it was a Chinese company. Bastards.
Government's programme, along with the commitment I gave in my introductory remarks about a planning and regulatory series of changes in the first 100 days of my government being re-elected.
I'm sure you'll probably want to come back on what Malcolm Offord was saying about tax, but Alex, go ahead.
So I said in my opening remarks that I felt that the three words were planning, skills and housing. Just a quick reflection on planning. I agree with a lot of what's been said. Ross is right about the chronic underfunding of local authorities. But there is low-hanging fruit to make planning work now. One of the things that developers and investors tell me that they're frustrated by is not being able to see the officials in council offices that they need to see on any given day. A large part of that is home working. We wouldn't end home working, but we would ask councils to build in keeping in touch days when you know that you could go to your council offices and meet all the planning officials you needed to on that one single day. That would free up a lot of time and energy for developers. The thing, though, I would focus on the first 100 days is skills, because we don't have the skills pipeline, largely because of the quiet death of further education that the SNP have presided over the last 19 years. It's because the Liberal Democrats...
We've still got free higher education, well, the university and college level, it's free here. We don't pay student fees up. Well, it's not free, we don't pay student fees. We have to pay for other things, like our books, our textbooks and stuff, and travel to the university to the lecture halls, labs, blah, blah, blah. So that's the only thing we have to pay for up here. So... There is a joint fee each year for attending your classes, which is nominal. I had to pay it. I had no problem paying it. And when I finished off my degree online, I hastened to add, I didn't need to go to... It was fun. I done my lab work because I was science-based. I done my lab work. I had a pair of hands in a lab from a PhD student. She was awesome. I fucking loved her. And I basically directed her to do the testing. She gave all the results back to me. I put them into my final thesis, my documentation, and submitted it. I literally had to tell her how to actually do the testing and stuff. Virology and parasitology, if anyone is interested. 9 grandchildren. Same as my granny. No, more grandchildren than that. Now, 9 children. Fucking hell, 17 grandchildren. Are you away, Talia? Thank you. Always a pleasure to have you. Stay hydrated. Self-care is good care. Take your meds if you need to take any. Stay based, free Palestine, and keep an eye on the elections happening wherever you are, if you're UK based. Bye, Talia. Sweet dreams. I'll catch you later.
Democrats, we reversed some of that decline in this year's budget with £70 million investment in skills development in our crucial further education colleges. But without doing it, you get, and I'll give you an example of what the impact of that looks like. Scotland, right? We auctioned off in Scotland the lion's share of our prime seabed for offshore wind farms. But none of the supply side of that will happen in Scotland. It all happened at once.
We don't have control of that. Energy policy is reserved. I am fed up about shouting about this. I'm probably going to be shouting about it more on my streams during this election campaign. We don't have control of certain parts of our energy policy, Alex. We don't. It's a reserved matter that Westminster has that we have not been given yet. People like me exist. And I am getting kind of shouty, aren't I? Ed Miliband, can you hear me?
There was no phasing at all. It was done as well at market pittance of a market cap of 100 per square kilometre. And because we didn't have the skills pipeline, we aren't going to have the lion's share of those jobs in Scotland. That can't be allowed to happen.
Even if we had that skills pipeline, we still don't have the policy that you're wanting to, you're advocating for, Alex. Please, fucking hell. Talk to your leader down in Westminster. Fucking.
And again, we need to gear up for the skills of the future. We need to understand where our sector strength is and build our skills economy accordingly.
Right, a lot there, I'm sure, for you all to get your teeth into. There are a couple of roving mics, I believe, and we're now throwing this part open to questions from you all. So who'd like to go first? Lady here.
Members basically feed the nation in a short statement. Our businesses have been impacted by increased costs in energy, packaging, national insurance and ingredients. With the war, this will even get even worse. Yesterday, we predicted that food and drink inflation could reach at least 9% by the end of this year. Our members are absorbing increased costs, but there's only so much they can take. What would you do to ensure our businesses can survive and also grow?
Do you want that to go to anyone in particular?
To everyone.
To everyone, right. Who hasn't started? Ross, you can start with that one.
I think in the first instance, and I imagine we'll probably come to this in more detail later, the Greens' position is the non-domestic rate system needs completely overhauled. We are using a property tax system as a quasi-business tax, is the reason why it's colloquially known as business rates. So long term, not going to pretend that that's something you could do in the first 100 days. Long term, certainly, we do need an overhaul of the NDR system. I don't think it works nearly well enough for small businesses. In particular, I think it needs rebalanced. I'm not going to pretend that we're going to advocate for wholesale tax cuts across the board, though, because you then end up having to cut the public services that people depend on. If you do that, it has an impact on the economy. On energy specifically, though, for us the major priority is transitioning particularly how we heat our buildings off of the gas network and onto electricity-based solutions, heat pumps as soon as possible, and making sure that businesses get the support that they need to do that. It's not just aimed at households. So when we had ministerial responsibility for that, we tried to make sure that the grants, the loans, etc., that were available were not just for households, that business properties could have that transition as well, because we know that energy costs for brick and mortar businesses in particular are one of the essentially crippling factors in the economy right now. Long term, the only way to get away from that is to move away from fossil fuel-based energy entirely. We have an abundance of renewable potential here in Scotland. We're doing exceptionally well when it comes to what we currently use electricity for. The major challenge is how we actually heat these buildings, moving that off the gas network and onto electricity to help businesses and households lower their bills.
First Minister.
at the heart, there's multiple issues that are driving increases in cost. Some of them are domestic, some of them are international, global factors, which, in the post-Ukraine invasion, business costs and costs in general have spiked with the inflation increases that we've experienced. So some of them are the factors of, external factors that have that impact. I think the underlying factor for me is about energy and energy costs, which are providing such a significant impact on individuals and businesses. So the focus we've had as a government about ensuring much greater support for the expansion of renewable energy has provided a great deal more insulation for Scotland from the external shocks that we're experiencing. But we're not seeing the benefit of that because of the nature of how the United Kingdom's energy market is constructed. So Scotland is generating phenomenal amounts of renewable energy, but our businesses and our households are not benefiting from the lower costs that they should be benefiting from, and that would address directly the fundamental issue that you're raising with me.
De-link the price of electricity from fossil fuels. Again, I'll probably get fed up of saying this, but fuck it, I'm going to say it anyway. Our energy costs are pegged to how much we actually pay for fossil fuels, especially LNG, so natural gas essentially. And to some extent, oil-based ones, actual oil and things. So no, de-link that price and our energy costs drop. And stop fucking charging us for putting it on the national grid, you bastards. The energy grid here, the way it is constructed and the way it operates at Westminster level, which is still reserved, I will get fed up of saying this, but fuck it. It needs fundamental changes done to it, like completely overhaul it. Can Westminster fucking hear me? So fucking frustrating, man. Seriously. Just fucking end me, please. Thank you.
I think wholesale reform of the energy market is vital. It's something we've argued for with the United Kingdom government. But the fact that there has been paralysis on this question since 2024 indicates the need for there to be a very strong voice from Scotland, making sure that our energy resources are under.
John, I love you desperately. You've done well. I love you. You've got a good, a semi-good, kind of good political history. Don't get me wrong. You've done well for my hometown. This is my hometown MSP, by the way. So he represents my home city of Perth, 63 miles northeast of where I currently sit. He has done well for us as a First Minister. He's a bit more animated now because election. He still looks kind of knackered to me, really. I'm sorry, John. Honestly, I am. I still love for you to be the MSP for my home city. Don't get me wrong. But, until we get that devolved up here, it's currently still a reserved matter. Westminster can go and do what. I will still keep on kind of shouting at them, not yelling or screaming. Still kind of saying, yeah, just fucking devolve it, please. We can do better on our own up here with all of our renewable energy. Thank you. Well.
Our control able to respond to the challenges that you legitimately put to me about the cost of energy for business.
Malcolm Offord, do you want to see wholesale change when it comes to energy, but maybe not of the type that John Swinney's talking about?
Correct. I mean, I think the short-term mitigations would be reversing these business rates and getting a fair system, and second of all, the income tax cut. But the longer-term issue is you cannot grow an economy with expensive energy. It's just not possible. And our energy is now 7 times more expensive than China and 4 times more expensive than the US. And we've done this to ourselves. We account for less than 1% of global emissions. China accounts for 30%, the US accounts for 13%. Now, what they've done is they're doing their transition, but what they've used as their transition fuels, China is 30% renewables, 70% coal. We stopped burning coal in '97. Fine, at that time the world burned 4 billion tonnes of coal. Today it's burning 8 billion. They're opening 1 coal power station per week. So they are using that as their transition fuel. I'm not advocating we do that. America's using shale gas as their transition fuel. We do have a transition fuel, which is called North Sea gas. 70% of our gas we import from Norway.
Wow! The thought bouncing around my head like a flying toaster. Anyone who gets that, you're old. Sorry, just a joke. I wonder when he was going to mention it. Leave it where the fuck it is. It's expensive. There's very little of it left, Malcolm. And actually extracting it is going to be prohibitively expensive and not worth it. And again, the global market exists. And the oil that we have in the North Sea is not used for energy purposes. It can't be used in that to actually to put it through fractional distillation would make it pointless to be a fuel to run a country. It is used for petrochemical reasons, making plastics and other sorts of stuff. And our North Sea oil goes to Norway and goes to other countries to be used to make other things, not used for energy. I'm fed up of all of them. So Ross has mentioned it a few times in the past, don't get me wrong, but the rest of them, including the First Minister, sorry John, I have to throw you in with the rest of them for this one, they don't mention this. None of them, other than Ross. It's not used for energy purpose. The oil that we have in the North Sea, I don't want those licenses granted. I want them to just fucking leave this up where it is. Again, eco-socialist. I want a fully renewable fucking country. Thank you very much. But we can't do that because energy is a reserve fucking policy.
From fields in the North Sea over the fence from ones that we own that we're shutting down. Even the Norwegian Energy Minister says that is daft. And contrary to this narrative that says, oh, all that happens is it goes on to the international market, it does not need to. You can license North Sea oil and gas purely for domestic production, which is what America did 20 years ago. Westminster level, Malcolm. Westminster level. We don't have that fucking power to do that up here. That is Westminster. They decide that. Not us. Away from Keeper. Oh, no, carry on, my dear. Carry on. It's fun hearing me get frustrated, isn't it? Holy fuck. It's going to get worse as this campaign carries on, I think. Just a thought. Yeah. I will try to keep measured and not rant too much, but I'm not promising anything. Sorry. That is Westminster level, Malcolm, you fucking bastard. He probably knows this, and he's being disingenuous in this, lying to the Scottish people. Go away. Years ago, the US was a net importer of energy. Today it's a net exporter. They used the shale gas purely to get prices down initially. We could do the same with North Sea gas, get our prices down immediately, and then we can think about a transition. But it needs to be a transition.
Wrong. Bollocks. He is lying. He is lying. Malcolm, shut the fuck up.
Which takes account of the fact that right now only 1/3 of your bills are actually the cost of electricity. All the rest of it, subsidies, tariffs, carbon taxes, and we cannot grow an economy with expensive.
Transmission. Standing charges. I don't pay a standing charge. Taxes at Westminster level, not up here. The green levies, Westminster level, not devolved yet. other infrastructure reasons for the upkeep of the grid. Westminster level. Are you noticing a theme here, everyone? I think it might be better if we have that in our own hands, really, up here. I really do. Can I be heard yet, do we think? Probably not. I'm but one lowly Scottish woman ranting into the void, really.
Energy.
Are you a fan of fracking? Would that be
No,
one of your
fracking's a red herring.
policies?
No, fracking's a red herring.
Right.
Our geology does not work for fracking. It's one thing in the Texas desert. That's fine. That's what they had. That was their shale gas. That's fine. That's their transition fuel that they've used. And they've done it in transition.
Have you seen what's been happening in fracking in the States? I'll just use the States as an example here. It is destabilising the bedrock of where these communities, these cities are actually based. Thousands of buildings across the UK, not the UK, across the US are literally subsiding. They're falling into the ground because of fracking. Need I say Flint, Michigan? Yes, if he was actually advocating for fracking, everyone in Scotland would react. That is all I'll say. On the whole, it doesn't happen here for reasons, geological reasons and other reasons, because we did used to mine coal in certain areas, which they would want to actually tap for shale gas for fracking reasons. No, fuck off. You're not destabilising the Central Belt. Any of yous. Just don't. Quick way to ruin the Central Belt and literally split Scotland. Literally a massive fucking fault line.
It's not substituting one or the other, but we need to use North Sea gas as our transition fuel, and it's right outside there on our doorstep.
You'd agree with that, Russell Finlay? That's where you've landed, isn't it?
I would agree that we need to maximise our own domestic energy supply, our own oil and gas. I was in Aberdeen on Monday with Kemi Badenoch, talking to oil sector workers.
I didn't know. She was up here in Scotland. Oh my God. Ah! Oh. Ah! What the? Oh, fucking hell. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I'm still. Come on. Pin? Baseness gets pinned. I'll actually put that. Truth gets pinned. Truth gets pinned. Thank you, Omaha.
And they've got in despair at the blockage on new developments by the Labour government in London and the SNP's opposition here, although John Swinney appears to have potentially changed his mind on this yesterday. But we need to maximise the energy that we have at our disposal, bring down the costs, invest in new nuclear, which is again an ideologically opposed by John Swinney's government, and get the country working again. And just touching upon the rates bills, the system's completely broken. As of yesterday, many businesses across Scotland had to start paying the new rates. In some cases, inexplicably, these had risen by 2, 3, 4, 500%. There's at least one business owner in this room tonight who's had to turn the key in the door, turn the lights off and give up. Not because he wasn't good at business, but because the rates bill was so prohibitive that he had no more room left to make any more savings. This was a guy that worked tirelessly, didn't take a wage out of the business for a long time, and kept going because he didn't want to cut people's jobs and leave them in the scrap heap. And that's the reality. So you can fix rates in a heartbeat. If the SNP government had been listening to businesses, not least hospitality businesses, they could have paused the rates bills and given them that respite, given them that breathing space. But also, let's maximise our own energy.
Anna Sauer, your government is obviously responsible at UK level for energy policy. Is it just not going in the right direction?
So I think a few different things need to happen. First of all, recognising the conflict in Iran and the added cost pressures that is currently added and potentially.
If you were being serious, Anna, you would have said, we need to stop that being a reserve power. We need this policy up here in Scotland. But you're not going to say that because you're a fucking puppet. Yes, my pal. He was a dentist. The other side of the river, by the way, so the south side. I can't remember if it was Pollock Shaws or Crookston or something. It was probably Pollock Shaws because that's where he's from. That's just the other side of the river, by the way, the River Clyde. So where he was born and brought up is about 5.5 miles away from where I currently sit. Annas, you're a fucking puppet.
Potentially could add, I think we have to look at every option around emergency support for businesses, particularly energy intensive businesses. Secondly, there was a commitment made to honour oil and gas licences that were granted before the election. They should be honoured in full. Third...
No, they don't. They don't need to be. Your party down in Westminster can say, no, we don't need to honour them, we can cancel them. That is in their power. They can literally say to them, no, wait, that was from the previous government, we're not going to fulfil them. Here's your get out clause, blah, 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 and don't fulfil them. Depending on how the Tories actually legislated it through the House of Commons and the other place. But yeah, they don't need to fucking fulfil them. They can basically tell them, no, this was done by the previous government. That's not our agenda. That's not what we want to pursue. And basically, they don't need to honour them. They really don't, Anna, and you fucking know that.
We will end the ideological block to clean nuclear energy in Scotland. 23% of Scotland's electricity comes from nuclear sources, but for some bizarre reason, Scotland wants the investment, the jobs to go elsewhere. I want the investment and jobs to come here to Scotland. So we will end that ideological block. We'll attract billions of investment. We'll create thousands of jobs, and we'll deliver greater energy security here at home. And we should abolish a broken business rate system. We should appoint a chief assessor.
If we had energy policy, we would have energy security up here, Anna's, you fucking bastard. All of our electricity is generated renewably. You know this. You've known this for the 5 years you've been fucking party leader. At least, but you're still a fucking puppet. If we had that power up here, we'd be able to do better for the people of Scotland and for our energy security. But you're not saying that. Are you? You're not allowed to say it, are you? Just saying.
Because the assessments have been atrocious right across the country. But directly on the question of food and drink industry, only around 1 in 5 businesses currently export in Scotland. We have some great export markets. How do we tap into those connections and those networks for those that already do it really well as do the infrastructure we have across the UK, around the globe, to maximise the opportunities for other businesses too, as well as how we get more people to visit here, because we know a tourist spends more money in Scotland than someone within country or someone coming from another part of the UK. That's why we would introduce route development funds, for example, for our airports, so we can get more direct flights coming into Scotland, more tourism into Scotland, and more exports out of Scotland.
Well, food and drink is the jewel in the crown of what we do well in Scotland, and is a success story. But you've had to weave gold out of straw, given all of the sort of breakbacks you're dealing.
Sleeping Beauty difference, fucking hell.
From both governments and the major shocks that you're experiencing at the moment. This is going to be a cost of living election. There's no question about it. All of your businesses rely on the money in the pockets of consumers who are feeling it tight right now, but that is as nothing as to when the energy price cap changes in July. Things are going to go from bad to worse. So energy is important. Energy security is important. Now, Lib Dems have always been very clear that we're not ideological about this, but we do recognise that the end of level boss,
yes, you are.
Final boss of the 21st century is climate change. So everything that we do has to have a weather eye on that reality too. But it doesn't mean turning off the taps on North Sea oil and gas. That has to be part of the mix, because we still...
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Not at all. No. That is just my stance. Do not equate what I am saying with the Scottish Greens. That is my stance. That is what I advocate for. Mind you, I'm well heard. Don't get me wrong.
Have a dependency on it. So we, in terms of drilling and extracting from those new fields, we weigh it up. Is it more environmentally sound to extract from our own backyard than it is to import? It may well be. On nuclear, we've been on a journey as well. The small modular reactor technology has persuaded Liberal Democrats that nuclear energy should be part of our energy mix, and renewables. We have to get that right, but that comes with upgrading the grid. We are paying constraint payments of nearly £2 billion a year from the public purse, my tax pounds, your tax pounds, going to energy companies not to put their power into our grid. That is insane. But we're having this discussion, and that is a reality. We need to vastly accelerate our move to upgrade the grid. And the final thing I'll say is this, is on non-domestic rates. I agree, the assessments are criminal, and they are putting people out of business. We all know examples of the exorbitant hikes that some businesses are facing without so much as a buy or leave. And I've asked repeatedly of the Scottish Government about these assessments, about these revaluations. They say the assessor is a creature of COSLA. You go to COSLA, they say it's a creature of the Scottish Government. And there's nobody entirely clear who's in charge here. We need urgently business rates reform. That's why the Liberal Democrats extracted £178 million from the SNP government in this most recent budget to extend relief to businesses on business rates. But when we talk about reform, we need to make sure that it's not just around some arbitrary assessment of your business's value. You should not be disincentivised to refurbish your premises in the understanding that when those revaluations come round again, that that's going to be penalised against the value of your business for the investment you put into it. That is not a means of stimulating growth in this country, and I can't believe we're still talking about this now.
I think there's two points I'd like to say in response to what Alec is talking about and which colleagues have talked about in the panel. The discussion around the business rates, I appreciate the challenges that business rates throw up for companies around the country, but there are very significant measures put in place in the government's budget to smooth any impact of those business rates increases.
They're getting ironed out at research level, Omaha. I'm keeping an eye on it, don't worry. It's probably going to be another good few months. Probably we'll hear something more towards the end of the year. So round about the time of my anniversary, which is late October, somewhere around the October, November-ish, they'll publish another paper. It's looking promising, don't get me wrong. I'm keeping an eye on it, don't worry. Plus I've got engineer friends and stuff who are educating me on that one, don't worry. But yeah, we'll find out before the end of this year, essentially. It's probably going to be another couple of years, maybe 5. So maybe after the next general election, or maybe before. It depends how the research pans out and how the actual testing things go. They're looking promising, don't get me wrong. They might actually work. They might be quite good for Scotland. We'll find out. Don't worry, I will talk about it.
With over £900 million allocated to support the suppression of business rate costs for companies. Now that's a huge investment. And the second point I want to make, and it relates a wee bit to what Malcolm talks about, because Malcolm talks about a £1.2 billion tax cut for the country, and Alec talks about we can save hundreds of millions of pounds on business rates, but nobody talks about the impact that would then have on the other demands on public services and the public finances and the issues that people depend upon in our society. So we've got to...
fairness, John, and transparency.
Well, absolutely, I'm all for fairness and transparency, but what I'm saying is that there's a discussion that's got to be had about what we raise revenue for and what it's got to be allocated for as
We're not saying not to raise the revenue.
No, but
essentially, it is neither.
Essentially, Alec, what you're saying is that there is a means that can withstand any impact of business rates on companies without there being a knock-on effect on public services, that you yourself demand that I increase public expenditure to support.
Fantastic. I'm fed up already. At least I managed to get through the best part of 40 minutes. Right, oh God, nearly 4 hours. I am over my 3 hours. I'm trying to stay between like 3 and 4 hours streaming time to build up my tolerance, because the election mega stream, because I'm going to be covering all the constituency votes. Dear God, save me. I'm doing it for I'm a glutton of punishment, and I'll be staying up anyway watching the results coming in. So why not just stream it, and you can watch me lose my mind, which will be fun. It might be fun because there are big scalps to be had. This one right here, here's list. It might be difficult to get rid of him. John's constituency, Alex's constituency, obviously Malcolm Offord isn't constituency. Russell's constituency, I believe. Ross is list. So, fuck. I can't remember if Gillian's Lister has a constituency. Sorry, Gillian, my dear. Let us read out, shall we? Let us find who do be live. Thank you, Kev, again for that raid. Much appreciated. Oh, Raptor's live. Oh, Dargesh and Doodle. Ooh. Hang on, I thought there was some... It is promising, don't get me wrong. I'm checking on it on a couple of weeks, like once or twice a month essentially. I'm checking in to see how it's doing. Oh, fuck it, straw poll. I'll not do an actual poll. Raptor Blue, Dargesh. Who else be live? Give me a minute, I'll expand. Because of red's going, I will go to red. Red, do you be streaming? Hey, red? What the? Red? No red. Dargesh. Rejoice, we are going to Dargesh. Because small streamers need boosting. Let's go and say hello to Dargesh. He be a teacher. Dark Edge is fucking awesome.
And I like the game, it just can sometimes feel a bit samey. So if you guys don't mind, I'll probably swap over to Baldur's Gate 1 as we continue pushing through the mines.
Stay hydrated, not necessarily with cider. Self-care is good care.
I'll
Take
get
a
it
measure
loaded
if you
and
need
then
to
I'll
take
swap
any.
over the
Stay based, free Palestine, and
the stream
watch
names. That
me.
way people that
I'll be back
pop in
tomorrow,
don't think I'm
well,
doing Mech
technically
Warrior.
today at 10 p.m. UK time.
Where are you going? Where are you going? There
It
you
will
are.
be fun. I will be with Andy. I'll catch you all later.
And this will also allow me to test the transition. Alright, 50%. Mad Cat, how are you?